Blago Joe Haguro. Facial skin removal with 5G satellite technology with microplastics embedded in skin. True. That's what we're all about here. That's what we're all about. Hell yeah. What's up, Servy? Hi. How you doing? Oh, I'm excited to get started for the day. I've been awake since 6 a.m. I've been like trying to hold myself back because I'm just every day is like getting like I'm starting to get like what my life can be. You know, it's like I'm excited to wake up and get started on working on stuff. And I don't even know exactly what I want to make today, but I'm excited to do it. That's like it's like I was waiting at 6 in the morning. I'm like, oh, like I was like kind of like for a second I was like beating myself up. I'm like, oh, I'm sleeping in. It's like it's 5:50 a.m. Okay. like why am I like acting like I'm like sleeping until noon? And even if I was sleeping until noon, why is that a big deal? Like like why would that be a problem? Like, it's not a big deal. But anyway, how you doing this morning? I've been excited to get started this morning. I'm like, my watercolors. I've been wanting to get started. I'm excited. I don't even know what I'm going to create, but I'm excited to get started with watercolors. And I even got like, I got 2 of these, but I got this, like empty palette. These are pretty cool. I saw a YouTuber use it. Basically like just like very like kind of portable friendly palette. I do have some better brushes on the way, but oh, this is not a brush. This is not a brush. Like a pencil holder. This brush is a little bit messed up. It got like it was like sideways. Your girl broke up with me? I'm sorry, Owiskin. Together for 3 years, you have physics exams. I don't do it well. The girl who I love is now talking and laughing with other. Well, here's the thing. I know you probably don't want to hear this right now, and maybe it's not the best thing for me to say, but maybe it'll help. Is that you're both individual people. And you deserve to be happy, and you deserve to focus on your exams. And I'm not saying this in a like, oh, forget about her kind of way. Like, no, she's a person that you shared your life with, like a significant part of your life, and that matters, and it will always matter, and it matters to her, I'm pretty sure. But laughing and talking with other people, whether or not she's going to be dating them or not, that it shouldn't even matter, right? Like, what if she was laughing and talking with other women? Like, what if she was talking and laughing with her family? What if she was laughing and talking with, like, her friend, like other friends? She's an individual, and you're an individual. You still love her, and, you know, you're allowed to love her. But sometimes, you know, it's like feelings don't match. And that's okay. You know, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm polyamorous. But I do believe in being able to love. There is no just one, you know, the one, right? What you feel is real. And that love, you did feel it for her, and you do. But just remember that that love is coming from inside of you, right? You just want her to be happy, and she sounds happy. And I don't think she's ever going to forget her time with you. 3 years, that's a significant part of her life. You know, like you leave something behind, and she's going to keep that for the rest of her life. And so that's meaningful, but also you're impacted by the relationship. Well, I'm glad to hear that Awaishkan. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, that's a healthy mindset because it's the only one that lives in truth. And in the end of the day, I feel like when we hold on to things like, oh, I love this person, and we say we want them to be happy, but then we get jealous when they're with other people, but they're individuals. And maybe, like I said, maybe I'm biased because I'm polyamorous, but even if you were in an active relationship, in my case, I would never be in a relationship with somebody who expected me to be completely steady with them. That just wouldn't work. And even if we were steady, it would still have to be under the understanding that I'm an individual and that person's an individual, and they get to decide who they're with and I get to decide who I'm with. Now, I might be monogamous with them, but that, and I probably would, honestly. Like, I don't take relationships lightly. But it has to come from an understanding that if he or she or they, like if they were with other people, I wouldn't get jealous. I'd be happy for them. And it'd almost be like I'm dating the other person they're with. Like, I'd be like, oh, tell me the details. Like, that's how I am. But I know that most people are not like that. You can't lose someone to sati. I can't force someone to stay with and believe if someone don't stop them because they're already gone. Yeah, I mean, it's like people change, and your needs change, your dreams change, your goals change, and sometimes the people that we're with don't match that. But it's also not like this whole terrible thing. I think people like internalize this idea of like, if somebody is like talking to somebody, especially if it's of like the opposite gender, because I know we live in kind of a heteronormative society, but if like somebody's talking to like somebody of like another gender, and you see them with them and you're like, oh, why are you talking to them? It's like, that's jealousy, and it's like you're worried that you're gonna lose them. But if that's the case, then maybe you shouldn't be together in the first place, because it's like you don't respect that person. You don't respect that person that if you've made a commitment to be monogamous, which in a heteronormative, non-polyamorous relationship, that is the ethical commitment. The ethical commitment is that you're just for each other, like a marriage, right? So if somebody isn't going to respect that, like, oh, I feel like sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry that you have to go through that, and maybe I'm just kind of talking about nothing, but it's okay to be sad. Exactly. You are sad, and that's okay. Yeah, Nat Geo-chan. Yeah, everything is just how it is, and it's okay that you're sad. It might even be okay that you're mad. Now, our actions are really what matters. Are you behaving in an appropriate way? Are you being healthy about it? You're polygamous? Nice. She did look girlish from the side, brushing. I am girlish. Hey Louise, how you doing? Won't be like homophobic or harass people. And yeah, exactly. Some people are like, oh, like you're hanging out with your buddies and their hand accidentally brushes you for like 5 milliseconds. No, I mean, I was there when I identified as male. I was like that growing up. Like, I was like, oh, I accidentally brushed my hand against my homie for 5 milliseconds. No homo, bro. What are you calling me gay? They made jokes about that in Scary Movie. It was like the Wayans, right? And like Leslie Nielsen. I don't was Leslie Nielsen involved in the first two? Was he involved as like a writer, or was that not until the third one? Either way, the Wayans were the ones that wrote the Scary Movie series, and then Leslie Nielsen started on, at least on the third movie. I don't know if he was involved in the first two. Like, you know, Wayans is in like In Living Color, which is like where Jim Carrey was like really getting started. Seek therapy, please. Yeah. Okay, blocked. Yeah. Your voice is so calming. Well, I'm glad. I am a broadcaster. I do have like a broadcaster mindset. So it's like a morning radio show. Good morning. Hi, I'm Rebecca in the morning. Just a reminder to love yourself. And today we're going to be working on some art together. Hope you enjoy the music and the vibes. Okay, you seem adventurous. I've totally got a dare for you. What's your dare? Huh? What's your dare? Hey Dream, how you doing? All right, so basically I want to get started with watercolors. I don't even know how to get started. I got like a jar I need to clean out for water, and I have another jar for water. This is the dirty one. This is going to be the clean one. I know it looks dirty, but I'm going to clean it. This is going to be the clean one because it's clear. This is going to be the dirty one because it's like opaque. So I'll be right back. You're a broadcaster? I'm live streaming. I'm literally broadcasting on YouTube. You don't mean this in like it looks way, mean it more in the way you present yourself. Randy Orton? I don't know who that is. Why do you think just purely statistically there are so many trans... Oh, okay. What are you talking about? We're not even going to touch that with a 500-mile pole, okay? I'm going to wash these, and you guys better behave. You guys better behave. Behave yourselves. Okay? Don't make me come in there. Okay, water is dripping. I guess it's perfect time for watercolors because it's raining like crazy. Water's dripping from the roof. So annoying. Got these like... Oh. Jesus. Oh. I don't know how to fix this. I guess I'm just gonna have water drip on my head. You're gonna get wet. You goofed. You goofed. You just splurged everywhere. Pickle pick. Jesus. No regrets. Well, good for you, bro. You look like a woman? That person's username is a problem. It's because I am a woman. Like, but that person's username is not okay. I just come. Nice. No regrets. You're a loser? No, he's not. Don't call my viewers a loser. Only I get to do that. Woo shoo poo poo. Don't call my viewers a loser. Only I get to do that. That's what's up. What's up, Vincenzo? Ah. Okay. Okay, so we need to get started. I got the water. I got my coffee. Why are you crying? What do you think? I'm not crying. Yo, you made this? What are you talking about? First ever YouTube say my name correctly. Vincenzo. So yeah, basically we need to figure out the whole watercolor situation. So, let's get the camera set up. This music is pumping, bro. Oh, I need to take my meds. Estrogen time. Well, Tokugo, welcome. This is a good place to be when you're bored, because I'm never boring. Love from India? Thank you. The Bunjun. Hi, Jasmine. Your day is going good at the very top. Me. Kong, 空田 je hao those aquareas. We're going to test out on this paper before I use the bigger paper. Yeah, we got all these colors. I'm gonna use only a few colors at a time. We just need like some base colors, like primary colors. So basically, we need a red. Which red are we gonna do? It's crimson red, scarlet red, or orange. That's not red. That's magenta, rose, rust red, deep red. Go with the deep red and Prussian blue. Yeah, Prussian blue. And we need a might need white to lighten up some colors. And we need a green or a black and a yellow. Yeah, how about a black and a yellow? Lemon yellow, pale yellow. Yeah, let's a lemon yellow and a black. Or no, oh yeah, there is black. Okay, good. What are you painting? We'll find out. Yeah, we'll find that out. So yeah, we need a black. This Payne's gray. This is straight up black. Black and yellow can make green, but we also need a green. I think a sap green or a deep green. No, if we have black and yellow, we can get deep green. Sap green? I think deep green is probably best. Okay, I think those are the colors that we're going to stick with today. There's some other nuance of colors, but we can mix colors. And with these primary type colors, we should be fine. Now, I don't know if I want to use this. We can keep this to the side. This pan. Let's keep this one here. And let's keep this one here. Okay, so basically, let's see, we need to not make a mess here. Okay. You always get ignored? No, you don't, Musgraf. I just didn't ignore you. Marty! Marty's blocked. You look like the type of person to play D&D. But if you do play some, I have never actually really played D&D. I'm more of a writer. Right there. Okay, let's get some color. Red. Don't want to use too much. I think it's always easy to like pour out too much green. Ah. Oh God. You get also another side piece of paper to wipe brushes off and stuff. Just get some side paper. Scratch paper. Hola, how you doing? Hi, Jose Mendoza. Hi, Amira Hassan. How you doing? You guys having a great morning? Okay, so now let's get some blue. Something blue. Okay. And now we need black, white, and yellow for adjusting. Your dog? I'm sorry to hear that your dog passed away. I'm sorry. Well, I might paint a picture of a dog. Or a field. Is there a favorite field that you can describe in chat that I can try to paint for you? Okay. Okay, there we go. Now let's get out a sheet of paper. Oh, I already got some paint on it. Well, I guess I got some color zones. Already started. Okay. Yeah. Let's go with landscape. Let's start with some wet on wet for some atmospheric. Start over here. And then I get some yellow over here. It's daytime. It's maybe it's the sunrise. Okay, let's let that area dry. Let's get some kind of where do we want the main mass of material? Probably over here. Let's go into that yellow over here. Do you speak any Spanish? Not really. I can understand it when people talk, but for the most part, but we get some kind of textured. parts over here. It's maybe like more in the foreground here, but we gotta have, let's have some nice composition over here. Okay, let's have some more wet zones. Over here. Okay, let's get some. We got wet on wet going on over here. Okay, what's the music genre? It's OC Remix. Rainwave.cc/OC Remix. It's user created in the community of OC Remix, Overclocked Remix, which is video game remixes. Okay, I'm gonna kind of blend with the yellow over here. Should be dried over there by now, so. This kind of looks like maybe it's a sunset. Get the atmospheric value out. Wet on wet values. What are you painting? What are you drawing? Some kind of sunset. Okay, so I need to do some color mixing. Let's get a little bit of. Okay, let's I think some red. Blue. And let's get some black. And some yellow. And let's mix these colors together. It's a little bit of water. Some color mixing. going on. I want to try to get like some brown. Ma'am, can you, anyone on this live, help me with my homework? Just take your time. Spend like 5 minutes reading the textbook, and then write down whatever questions you have, and just write them in a notebook. And you don't have to answer the questions right now. You can then take like a 30-minute break, and then go to the notebook rather than the textbook. Go to the notebook. And basically start answering those questions in your own words. That's the really important part, is it has to come from your own internal, like it has to come from your own internal understanding. You have to answer these questions. Some of it might involve research, but the research doesn't matter if you haven't actually like put these things in your own words. So basically, go to the textbook. Any questions that you have, anything you don't understand, write them down in a separate notebook. Just ask questions like, what does this mean on page 72? Or like, you know, copy it out of the textbook and write down, restate it. Like, you know, copy it out and then write a question. And then basically spend some time, like 30 minutes at least, away from the problem. And then come back and spend 5 minutes per question. And then take 30 minutes in between each question. You can take longer, but that's just like, make that your minimum success condition. Basically, your minimum success condition is, I thought about the problem for 5 minutes. And your goal isn't to solve the problem. I think that's where a lot of people get things wrong. Your goal isn't to solve the problem. Your goal is to understand the problem better. Because you can't answer a question if you don't know what the question is. And so you have to have an initial question, and then you write the questions down, you think about them, and then you write about them. Okay. And maybe there's like a little bit of snow. You know, this is where my friend Bob Ross is really going to help. Doing stuff like this. This is like stuff Bob Ross taught me. Yeah, like, let's make this tree a little bit, like, you know, this is a snow-coated tree. We're gonna have to go back and green after that dries. You don't have enough time to do what you were saying? Well, that's what I'm talking about, Elliot, is usually when you're trying to study for something, you get plenty of advance notice. And I'm telling you, if you do this, you get faster at it. Because then you don't have to answer the same questions, because there might be questions. Wow, your 4-year-old nephew paints better. I bet, because I just started again, since I haven't really painted since I was 4 years old. So like this, this is like a new thing for me, basically. Okay, let's get some blue now that the now that this is kind of dry here, but it's still wet. Get some blue. Yeah, basically, if you do this, you start answering questions that you don't have to answer again, because you'll find that a lot of things carry over in life. That a lot of the questions you're asking, when you read other things in your textbook later, you're not going to have to re-answer those questions. You're going to have new questions. And so you're going to get more optimized as time goes on. I know people say you don't have enough time, but actually, if you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. And so it's like, if you spend the time to go over this very slowly, and you know, you don't have to do it literally. Like, you know, I said, I'm just trying to tell you a minimum barrier of entry. If you can do it for 5 minutes, take 30 minutes off, and then do another 5 minutes. But, you know, spend 5 minutes just writing down questions. Don't even try to answer them yet. Just write the questions. And when you write the questions, and then you can journal about them. And that's like really where you're going to do the most studying, is not in the textbook. You're not reading the textbook, not trying to memorize the textbook. What you're trying to do is you're trying to understand and internalize the ideas and the questions. So then it's not even like it's coming from the textbook. You're basically memorizing it without memorizing it, because you're internalizing it. It's no longer you reciting a textbook. It's you understanding a question. It's you understanding the problem. For math equations and stuff for that, you need to be exercising them. For non-mathematic related things, you need to be conceptualizing that. And that's where your math equations are basically doing exercises for math. The version of that for other things like history or English or anything like that, the version of that is basically writing down questions that you have, that you want to answer, ones that are important for you because you don't understand it. Write those questions down. Just writing them down will give you clarity of thought, which might even be like 98% of the studying. Just writing them down in the first place gives you a little bit of clarity. But then what you do is you go one by one, question by question, and write as long, like set a timer for like 20 minutes or even 5 minutes. Like I said, set a timer for 5 minutes and just keep writing whatever words come to your mind. Just put them on the page. Like no questioning it. No like second guessing yourself. Just asking the question and talking about it as if you were talking to a friend, as if you're talking to your dog, as if you were talking to a rubber ducky, right? You basically are just talking out the problem, and you do that long enough and you start to be able to do it faster and faster as you go. So then you actually go faster by going slower. If that makes any sense. It's really hard for people to grapple with that, but it's a reality. If you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast, because so many people, they burn out so much from college or high school or middle school or even elementary school, because they struggle with this concept of trying to just study for an exam. You're not really studying. You're trying to get a good grade. That's a different problem. And you're trying to solve the problem of getting a good grade. But in order to get a good grade, you have to understand the material. And if you understand material, you don't really have to study. You can just read the text, and now you're automatically answering these questions without even having to go through this process ever again, because you've already asked those fundamental problems. Oh, wow. What are you painting? I'm painting whatever this is. It's some kind of forested area. Let's get more green in there. Okay, so basically we need to get, like, this is going to kind of fade out, so we need some wet on wet, and we need to wash over here. get the water. And then now... I get the... Okay, let's blend with the brown. Get some deep green right there. Yeah, let's just give some hints of some trees. In the distance over here. Possibly a mountain. Kind of give some shadowy indication of like bigger trees and mountainous area, hill areas. Yeah, let's let's let that dry. Your band? No? Leario? Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Leario, welcome back. Hey, Cappy. Remember that Jesus loves you? True. Yeah, let's let this dry for a bit. Yeah, we're working with just some primary colors. Basically, red, blue, and green. We got some black and white and yellow for mixing. Hello, Darkside. Oh my goodness, Darkside. I saw you over there in the Discord, Darkside. I'm just kidding. That's a reference to another clip. There was a person named Darkside at the time. I had a Discord. I don't run a Discord anymore, but joined the Discord, and I was making like a motivational speech about chess during the first PogChamps. Did you hit 70 on WoW? I did not. I have full rested XP now, though. So next time I log in, we're going to be running some what's it called? The Blood Furnace. We're going to be running a bunch of Blood Furnace runs until we get capped honor. Or, yeah. Not honor. I'm having flashbacks from pre-patch. Okay. Till we get capped rep. Well, not capped rep, but until we get, like, what? Rep? I mean, honored or revered? Yeah, I think we need to get revered, right? In order to get attunement for heroics. Right? So I'm going to be running Blood Furnace until I get revered. Your voice is kind of funny. Oh, I can see the wet spots here better. Yeah, we gotta wait for it to dry. You guys, I got this from my mom a while back. Drawings, affirmations, and comfort to help with anxiety and depression. Now let's see. I understand needing to grieve the person you hope to be, but like, who you are now is good too. You can be a mess today. It's okay. Aw. I guess we can start some of the... Yo, what's up, my Gupta? How you doing?
What up? It's your boy Rajim. Fusion, what up? Let's go. Squad, why'd you even show up, man? Alarm guard, it belongs to us.
Okay, I think we need some more green. Or actually, okay, let's get some green over here. Hi, what's up, Naya? Pepega. Pepega. How you doing, Pepega? Ooh. Were you painting? I am painting something. You're chilling? That's good. You're a 10 out of 10 at sketching, but negative 3 out of 10 in watercolor. Well, this is my first watercolor in like 30 years. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I need to get some... Definitely need to get some white. I need to get some. Okay, that needs to dry before I can... I really want to add the snow.
What the hell are you guys doing?
Okay, and now I think I need some yellow. Okay, so let's get some water wash over here. Need some wash, okay. And then we need some serious yellow. serious yellow over here. Gonna be like the sunlight, just kind of peeking out over the mountain range, blending in with the get some wash over here. Try not to get the white that's still wet over there. And you just need some white and blue. So let's get some white. Let's get some blue over here with the white. I think this is the final white. Okay, and I think only thing left, get this kind of fine round brush. I think the only thing left, we put some tiny bits of black. To darken up some of this. Okay, yeah, that black darkened up that brown. That's the ticket. Okay, I don't want to get too muddy here. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I think that's this. white to kind of drip down. There we go. Okay, I don't want that to be muddy. All right, I think this is let's just call this done. Go. Hey Kim Passable, welcome back. Let it dry a bit. And then I can sign it. Let's get some Sumi ink to sign it. Okay, that should be enough. Okay. There we go. It's just yeah, there we go. Huh. Yeah, we're calling this one done. As soon as I sign it, it's done. It's almost like a spiritual ritual. Like, basically, I'm telling myself as soon as I sign it, don't touch it anymore. No matter, no matter how bad it looks. Like, we're done with that piece. I learned what I can learn from it. Touching it more is just going to make it muddy. Whether it's good or bad, I can't do anything about it now. Doing more is not going to make it better. Okay, let's change the lighting. See how it looks. Yeah, let's I can kind of show you a little bit better. Nice, let's go. I made a little landscape. How's my composition? Yeah, we got these are the colors. That we used. White. What was your first bike? I don't remember. You have never come across again after our first meeting? Well, Lexac. Welcome back. I'm glad that you found your way back here. You're trying to pull away from your winter slump. Well, what you gotta do is you gotta come to my channel and hang out. That's how you get out of your winter slump. Impassable. Hang out on my stream. While we're doing some painting and drawing. I want to practice restraint when it comes to painting, because a lot of the time, see, I need to use even less paint. I already was very conservative with how much paint I used, but I need even less than this. I think I can probably try to store it in here. Let's try to scoop it out if that's even possible. Like, let's try to save some of this in this half tray here. I don't want to just wash these away. Especially, I didn't use a ton of green, so let's just kind of put these away in this little tray here. Yeah, I need to use even less paint. Like, even less than I thought I needed. So I can always squeeze out more into the palette. Oh, this is the super fine round brush. Actually, that's pretty much it. Just the yellow. I guess I didn't use much to make the blends. So yeah. Cool little painting. You like it, Mrs. Red Cat? Thank you. Can it still clap? What am I sitting on? Oh god. This is Porkin music. I think I sat on some gum. Look, there's gum on my seat. Look! Gum! There's gum on my seat. I sat on gum. Look! Gum! Well, good thing I twerked, because I wasn't even aware that there was gum on my seat. My ass. Jesus. It's really stuck in there. That's what she said. Literally. Yeah, I like this little painting. And the good thing is I showed up. That's the good part. And I think like the biggest thing is that practicing restraint with painting and just at most one painting per day. But even then, like maybe like once a week. Because I think painting is like synthesizing a whole bunch of different things. And it basically brings together everything else I've been working on all into one. So it's not like I'm standing still if I'm not painting. If I'm drawing with like pencil or charcoal or ballpoint pen, it's not like I'm just pausing painting progress. I'm learning like different composition techniques and different blending techniques, different, planes and axes and trains and automobiles. All sorts of different things. When you start painting with oil paints, this is watercolors. This is Nice Pro. Watercolor paint, 36 colors, safe and non-toxic, rich, high pigment colors. For beginners and professional artists. I'm professional. Trains, planes, trains, and automobiles? Those aren't pillows. What about that baseball game? Yeah, how about them Knicks? Oh, I mean, the Celtics have been kicking their ass. I'm surprised there hasn't been like a reboot of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but like modern day. Like what kind of problems like would like modern day people have with that kind of issue? You come back and you lose context. We're talking about Steve Martin and John Candy. Okay? You want to hurt me? Go ahead. I'm an easy target. Sure, I could be a cold cynic like you, but me? I like me. My wife likes me. My customers like me. Because I'm the real deal. What you see is what you get. Cause I still love you. Remember that? That was a huge meme on YouTube for a while. And then people would do the I'm a firing my laser mixed in with it. I'm a firing my laser. You so real? You like that?
You drink? I never drink. Why?
There's water dripping on my head. If I was watercolor, it'd be all washed out right now. Yeah, I think like watercolor is really kind of like lower stakes color working before I start working with more acrylics and oils. I think also oil pastels are also really good for working with color theory and blending and like texture. That is much cheaper and easier and like a little bit like it's like less preparation to work with pastels, like oil pastels, than working with oil paints. I also got some crayons. Apparently crayons are really good for laying out different like levels, almost like a paint by numbers for pastels. Also, crayons are good for pre-drawing certain zones in watercolors because of the wax. So I could do certain things in crayon first to get some basic like kind of guides, and also places where I don't want water to go. Never mind drawing, we start dance. Exactly. I love dance. Where's the sax? We haven't played sax in a while. I'm kind of like not really in the music zone right now for a while. He died on the cross for y'all. Not forcing. Well, of course you're not forcing. Forcing. I mean, yeah, I mean, thanks for the message. Your message has been received, Nameless. The one true king has spoken. Repent from what? Exactly. I mean, I don't know what from. This is what, you know, it's like, Nameless, you come in here, you say you're not forcing, but then you just kind of forced it. From habitual stuff? Like brushing your teeth? Masturbation? Don't repent from that. Whatever you do, don't repent from that. You should be proud of that. You should be proud of your little, you know, your little splurge babies. Every time you do it, you're giving birth. Splooge babies, let's go. There's like proteins and they're feeding bacteria. Feels like forcing. Not really forcing y'all to read it. Exactly. But you kind of did. But it's okay. We love you, Nameless. Bringing the message of Jesus. I'm my man, JC. Let's go. The one true king. See, the way I think about it is that it's so neutral that it's not neutral. And then people have their own meaning from it. But that's because it's neutral. It's so neutral that people can treat it like oil paints, right? Or watercolors. It's actually more like watercolors because watercolors are still water soluble. And so it's like all people, if we start mingling together, we influence each other. And when we love each other, that means that our love influences the other people around us. So when you spread love or hate, it's like watercolors. It influences everything around you. That music came on and I just couldn't help myself. And that's the meaning in Christmas. Well, don't argue, you guys. See, you're like watercolors. You guys came together and now you're starting to like mix in. And it's like, well, Jesus was the wokest. Exactly. I don't think, see, here's the thing. I don't think Nameless even implied any of that. And I think like I have the same response that Kim Passable has internally. I'm a girl. I think I don't know what Nameless meant by that. But I also think Kim Passable, I also don't think that it is what we think it is. Because I think what happens is we hear stuff like repentant and all that, and we immediately like become like the people who have hurt us in our life. All of that comes rushing back because I have been affected negatively by religious people. And so it doesn't mean that when religious people come into my chat that they are those people. And I think how I respond matters. And so I think when those people come in, yeah, I don't really push any kind of religion in my chat. So if it becomes a problem, I will time people out if they're trying to convert people in my chat and stuff. Nothing's stopping you from sending your message in your channel, in your stream, or in your videos. But that's not what I'm about. I'm not trying to spread a religion. I'm not trying to, spread any message of a Bible or anything like that. I'm just trying to live my life. And I think ironically, that is probably my version of spreading the message. I think everybody lives their own truth. And I feel like that's what Jesus was trying to get at. Was that like there is no book that governs us. We govern ourselves. And we decide. I think that's what the whole drawing a line in the sand. It's not literal. It's like when you draw a line in the sand, it says like you can choose to cross over or not. But all he's doing is being neutral and saying, this is the path I have for myself. I'm building my church and I'm not forcing anybody. I'm not going out and going on crusades and like going to war with people to join my church. I'm just building a church. I think that was what made that story so powerful, was that instead of forcing a law onto people, which is what religion has historically been, people saying, my religion is the only religion. No, my religion is the only religion. No, atheism is the only belief. Like, it's not about that. You can't force other people to believe things. You can only show them something and they can choose what they do with it. And that's like the most like philosophically sound stance. Which is why I feel like it's dangerous when you start talking about religious figures, because everybody has a different idea of what Jesus is. So it's pretty dangerous to even mention the name, because as soon as which is a damn shame, because originally, like, it wasn't about that at all. If yes, then you also like guys. If you love God, exactly. If you love God, if you love Jesus, then that makes you gay. So there's nothing wrong with being gay. You love God, right? Would you sleep naked with Jesus? It doesn't make you gay. It just makes you a person who is accepting of human love. Like, right? Like if Jesus came down naked and said, walk with me, embrace me, are you going to say you're not going to embrace him because you're like, no homo? Like, come on. If the literal God came down from the sky and was buck naked with a boner and said, embrace me, I am God, would you say, you're telling me you would say no? like, like, Jesus Christ, bro. Love is lust? No, love is love. It doesn't matter that your form of love. If lust, I think it's like what people are talking about is when something turns into something bad. Like as soon as you offer your clothes, but he didn't ask for clothes. He's naked. He came into this life naked. So did we. He didn't ask for clothes. He didn't need clothes. He's fucking God. What does he need clothes for? You're mistaking lust as love. That's not what I'm talking about. If sexuality comes from a place of love and respect and understanding of boundaries, and it's between at least one or more consensual parties, so it's like yourself, right? So sexuality, masturbation, is not an inherently bad thing. And people demonize it, and they demonize people who do it. And it's frustrating because it's like, well, I don't find anything evil about it. I don't find it lustrous. I don't find it distracting. I find it something healthy and beautiful. And I think that it is a form of love. And he doesn't want to be shielded. You're missing the point, Baba. He never asked to be shielded. He's not ashamed of his nakedness. He never was, because he came into this life naked. Right? Just like, you know, if we go back to the stories of the Bible, like Adam and Eve were naked. And then it was the broner. Bask in the glory of his broner. Exactly. See, God would get me, right? Like Jesus would come in with a big ass boner, naked. Like he made us sexual, right? Like if you're gonna believe the Bible and a creationism, why would you not embrace what God made you as? God made you sexual. And it's how you use it that matters. That's what people mean when they say lust. When you start hurting people with it, if you start using it as ammunition, if you start using it as shame, like then it becomes something bad. But that's a different problem, in my opinion. But I feel like if there is a God that created us, then God also created our sexuality, which means that there's nothing wrong with it. And it's how, like, you know, just like God gave us the ability to hurt people. But it doesn't mean you have to hurt people just because you can. And also, sexuality doesn't have to hurt people. And a lot of people think that it's something to be avoided. And that sounds like a personal issue, and you should probably go to therapy to talk about that. But to force that onto other people and shame other people for expressing a healthy sexuality. Okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna put you on a timeout, Nameless. I don't like the religious discussions. I'm sorry. I'm gonna kind of lay down the law here. It's my channel. I'm not trying to turn this into a church. Okay, like I don't like the vibes that church people do. They kind of just come in and they just kind of force their opinions as if it's something everybody is supposed to follow. Ironically, a lot of these self-proclaimed Christians that are against like trans people and gay people, they accuse the LGBTQ community of the same exact things that everybody is pissed off about the religious communities. They say, oh, we don't want that in schools. Well, we don't want church at school. You know, like, we don't want, they say things like, you know, like they come in and they say, oh, you need to follow Jesus because it's the only path towards freedom. And it's like, dude, I didn't ask for a sermon. But then it's like they say like, oh, but gay people are always like telling people to be gay. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's trying to convert people into gayism. Okay, like, it's not the same. And I think the reason why all these Christian, and this is about as far as I'm going to go on this political conversation, and I'm going to kind of put an end to it for now. But I feel like the reason why these self-proclaimed Christians and anti-LGBTQ people have such a problem with it is because they're projecting their own understanding that they think that it's the same as their church. They think it's a church of LGBT. The Q is not standing for church, okay? Like, it's not QURCH, okay? It's not, it's queer. It's just a cultural acceptance movement. It's a very different situation than religious freedom. It's not a gospel. It's a movement of acceptance for people for who they are. It's fundamentally different than a gospel. It's not trying to spread a message of gay. Like, that's not what's happening. And I think that people have this like subconscious understanding. If they're not fully aware of it, I think they're acting on it. Where they're treating LGBT people as if they're going around trying to give sermons, because that's what they do. And I don't really want to go on about this. It's a divisive topic. Although I am a trans woman, so I'm inherently already divisive. So I can't help it. So only people who aren't discriminated against have the luxury of being apolitical, unfortunately. A lot of people out there, they say, they'll say like, oh, I'm apolitical. I don't like talking about politics. I don't have that luxury. Just by existing, I'm already political. I already get people angry just by existing. I don't have the luxury of being apolitical. I'm inherently already divisive just by existing. And it's frustrating when people don't understand that for me, I don't have a choice. I have to talk about these things. I don't always have to talk about them, but they affect me regardless of whether I talk about them or not. Trans? Yes, I'm a trans woman. Standarded? We human civilization, civilize ourselves and to create standards. That's why we wear the clothes. It's just, we have different standards on our own definitions, but it's nuanced. And like, you guys missed my whole example. English only in the chat, please. I don't even know what that means. See, I don't want to have to constantly translate things people say in the chat. Please don't do that. Oh, it just says howdy.
Grüß dich.
Grüß dich.
Grüß dich.
Yeah, it just means howdy. Yeah, sorry. It's just, I don't like to always have to translate something that somebody says in the chat. Yeah, anyway, I kind of want to change topics because that's like kind of upsetting and it's divisive. I don't like it. And I hate how, I don't like how people seem to think that me talking about the fact that I'm transgender as like me shoving it down their throats. Me existing is not shoving it down your throat. I can't help being who I am, but they seem to think it's a choice. And it's like, I just did what I needed to live my life. You guys these people don't understand. This isn't like a lifestyle choice. It's a choice to respect myself. Brah. Hey, Salar Khan. Khan! Yeah, it's just, I don't like how people, like, the situation is shitty. I don't have the luxury of being apolitical like other content creators. Other content creators get to have like, oh, we're just here to chill and have good vibes. We don't talk about politics and all that stuff. But people bring politics to me because they don't agree that I even am allowed to exist. But I guess that's just how it is. And if I was a different minority, those people would have a problem with that. Like if I was black, they would have a problem with that. But I think a lot more people would understand that that's hatred. But I think when it comes to trans stuff, they're like, oh, but people can have their opinions. If your opinion is that I am not allowed to exist, that I am an abomination, that I shouldn't exist because I'm inherently perverted, or anything like this, that is not an opinion, that is hatred. But people don't always understand it that way. They think it's like, oh, but people are allowed their opinion. They don't want to use your pronouns. They don't want to have it forced down their throat. It's like, well, dude, I'm just trying to exist. And you're going to disrespect my entire existence. You're going to disrespect my entire identity. And you're going to call it an opinion. And people are going to agree with you because they don't understand. That's the situation with trans people. It's that we're in a situation where people are just dogpiling on us, and then people just dismiss it as people just saying their opinions. Where if it was people dogpiling on me because I was black, nobody would bat an eye except for actual racist people that's racist. They're like, oh, that's racist. Like, people hate her because she's black. Like, if I was black, that would not be a question with a large amount of people. But because I'm trans and people don't really see it as like an inherent part of who I am, the same way as if I was black, people are like, oh, but you know, people are allowed their opinions. It's like, as people just disrespect me constantly, disregard my humanity, like all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I do accept myself, but I'm just saying, like, if you walk into a room and as soon as you walk into the room, you're there to do a job, you're trying to get the job done. Let's say you're a project leader, right? And you bring in the project, you bring in some materials, you have a slideshow, right? You're going to be presenting something to the board members at like a business, right? You're like the CEO. But then you walk in and they're like, you know, like, I don't like that you're wearing high heels. Why are you wearing high heels? Nobody else here is wearing high heels, and it's a room full of men, right? So, like, why are you wearing like a sexy outfit? You're literally just wearing like business casual or a business suit, and you have breasts. So it's like everyone's talking about your appearance, and they're like, oh, like, you know, your makeup like is too gaudy, or like you're not wearing enough makeup, or why'd you do your hair this morning? Why are you trying to make everyone look at your sexual body? It's because they're sexualizing her body. They find her attractive, and they find that to be a distraction. It has nothing to do with her as a person. It has nothing, like, if that was a man, nobody would even be asking these questions. They would be listening to him. They would be like, you know, focused on the meeting. They would be focused on the job. But because it's a woman coming in with high heels, or not, maybe not even high heels, just like business heels, and because like, and wearing like a business skirt because she wanted to wear a skirt because that feels comfortable for her, and she's presenting herself a certain way. But do you understand what I'm getting at? Like, just for existing, you are fundamentally in a different environment. That you don't get to have the same environment that everybody else does. Just by existing. So it's not about whether or not you accept yourself or not. It's that you are fundamentally living in a different reality, and it's outside of your own choice. That's what I'm trying to talk about. Yeah, if you're tall, they clock on it. There's like 7 foot tall women. What are you talking about? And also, men really like tall women. It's like an actual thing. Like, men have giantess fantasies. Are you kidding? Bra, please. I am wearing a bra. Jesus Christ. Yeah, or like, if you don't wear a bra, men are gonna be like, why the fuck aren't you wearing a bra? What the fuck? But like, they don't wear bras. And there's men with bigger tits than me walking around without bras or even shirtless. But they have male nipples, so they don't have areolas. So it's like different, apparently. You know, you know, also, like, obviously, like, a lot of women choose to wear bras anyway because it's supportive. Because you don't want things bouncing around, right? But that has nothing to do with what other people want. That's what she wants. But because you present a certain way, or even just because you have large breasts, I have smaller breasts, so it's a little different. But just for having large breasts, people see you as inherently sexualized. They see your breasts and they're like, why is she sexualizing herself like that in public? Like, just because she has breasts, that makes her sexual by default? Like, that's ridiculous. She can't help the breast size. Are you going to force her to get breast reduction just because you can't control your boner? Like, Jesus Christ. Most cis women aren't like 6+. Exactly, I know that, but I'm just saying it's not like inherently masculine. I'm 6 foot tall, and a lot of people really like that. In fact, it makes me more viable as a model. Like, are you kidding me? Because I have long legs. Like, men like legs. Like, women like legs. Like, it's not, and first of all, it doesn't even matter what other people like. It's just my body. Maybe you are just a disregarded scientist whose discovery is no value today. Maybe, I don't know. I'd like to get some kind of recognition in my life during my lifetime. As an artist, as a, like, anything I do, as a general artist. You know, obviously I have a long way to go with my painting and drawing. This is my first watercolor, I think, in like 30 years. Long story short, we're all monkeys. I mean, we descended from a common ancestor, and it was an ape ancestor, or an ape-like ancestor. Simian. We're basically Saiyans. No, not really. We don't transform into big giant apes in the full moon. Hormones, your nervous system make things hard. I mean, it's just how everybody has hormones. Everybody has hormones and nervous system. They affect you every day. Insulin is a hormone. Okay, yeah, don't use slurs in the chat, please. You're very disrespectful. I'm blocking you. Should have transitioned earlier. I mean, at least you didn't transition later. Right? Like, I mean, I wish I transitioned earlier. I wish I transitioned when I was, like, younger, before my male puberty, but I didn't know what I knew until I was 18, and then I didn't transition until I was 31. So I didn't have the ability to. I didn't have as many doors open. More water. Yeah, no, here's the thing is, like, there's some women out there that are like supermodels that are like maybe not supermodels, but like they're models and actresses, like you know, who are 7 foot plus. Like there are people who genuinely prefer very tall women. It's like a giantess fantasy. Yeah, I wish I had a support system earlier for transition. Yeah, but you know, that's never too late. I've known people who waited until they were 70 plus to be able to get surgeries. And then she had a surgery. I don't want to talk about this person, but like I've heard of people that were in their 70s. Are you ginger? No, I dyed my hair. It's like, I dyed it red a bit, and now it's slowly starting to fade back into my like kind of blonde or light brunette. Hello, Miss. Hey, Commander. You're 18? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, I don't want to make this into a divisive conversation again, but what's really unfortunate is that modern medicine, and obviously it could always be better, but modern transgender medicine understands the seriousness of going through your natal puberty when you're already in a position, which is very rare for a lot of people under 18 and under 16 or under 14. It's very rare. Most people don't know their gender until like way past 18, like if they're trans. Most people don't. They try to go through life, they're confused, and they're trying to just be okay with themselves. Most people, I'm pretty damn sure, it's very rare for young people to actually know. But once you know, you can't. It's like Pandora's box. Once you know, you can't unknow it. And the thing is, you're going to force somebody who knows that they're going to be miserable if they go through their natal puberty to not only go through it, but then spend their whole entire adult life going through invasive surgeries to try to undo something when modern transgender medicine understands how to deal with this. And it is approved by multiple health organizations. It is healthy because it's, like, would you rather have somebody be punished for the rest of their life to be clocked as the gender that doesn't align with their own gender for the rest of their life because you forced them to go through male or female puberty? Like, I had to go through male puberty, and so I've had to get multiple surgeries. Well, I mean, I guess one surgery. Like, there's things that surgery will never undo. Like, I had to go through permanent bone changes. And yeah, my bone density is changed over time with estrogen, but you're forcing people to go through permanent changes just because you think they aren't ready. But like, I asked these people one thing, and a lot of these people are religious, so maybe this is a good example. Do you think 4 years old is too young to bring a child to church? Do you think 6 years old is too young to bring a child to church? Do you think 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years? When is the right age to bring a child to church? Most people would say, there's a lot of people who baptize their child at birth when they're an infant, when they have no choice. You're basically telling your child and forcing them into a religion before they can even think for themselves. Which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but I'm just going to say, like, where's the consistency? You don't have a problem preaching a gospel of Jesus or of church to a child and brainwashing them into your church, or influencing them to join the military, or giving them a damn iPad at like 3 years old, where they're going to be bombarded with advertisements and different marketing campaigns by social media giants, gurus, like in Silicon Valley, with like social media from a young, and like apps in the App Store on an iPad as young as 2 or 3. And you're going to tell me that a child who absolutely knows that they are transgender and absolutely knows and has contemplated this for years without any shift, who has undergone like multiple years of therapy at this point, because by then they don't just like transition you transition them. That's how it works. Their goal is a baseline of, we are going to support you, and we are going to do this in the right way. Like, you don't just transition out of nowhere. It takes years, and by the time like, the reason why they get puberty blockers is because it's already been researched and is known to be safe, and it's reversible. People are like, oh no, it's chemical castration. I don't understand why these people don't listen to science. But I understand why. It's because they go to church. It's because they believe things are set in stone and that there's only one way of viewing the world, and it's based on their church and their Bible, and however their pastor told them what the Bible means. Because these people have a hard time thinking for themselves in the first place. So they think everybody is the same way. They don't understand that if you're a transgender person, you have thought deeply about your identity more than like 98% of the world. Because it's like you have to. It's the nature of gender dysphoria. It is why it is so invasive and pervasive, is because it does not go away. It is constantly on your mind. It is eating away at you like a ghost that is sucking your soul out of you. And you're going to tell that person that they're forced to go through a puberty that they know is going to be painful for the rest of their life? That they have to do invasive surgeries when they're 18 plus to undo those things when they could have just prevented them in the first place? And then eventually when they're fully determined to be, this person is responsible, this person knows what the risks are, the parents sign off on it, we're going to start them on hormone therapy to go through with the puberty that aligns with their gender. There's a whole process involved, but people don't care about that. But you're going to bring a child to church as young as 4 or 3 or 4. You're going to baptize them before they can even speak language. You're going to teach them about the Bible for their whole life from birth when they don't even have the ability to differentiate ideas, which I don't think that's inherently a problem. Like, I don't think children should be torn away from their parents just because they're teaching them about Jesus. So why would you force children to go through irreversible changes when that's what you're trying to prevent? You're like, oh, I don't want them to go through irreversible changes through transitioning from male to female or female to male. But you're also forcing them to go through irreversible changes by going through their natal puberty. They're like, oh, but that's normal. It's healthy. They should learn how to be okay with their gender. Don't you think people have tried that for like centuries? Like, are you like dumb? Are you a stupid person? Are you a stupid person? Because you think that trans people haven't tried that? Are you dumb? Are you actually an idiot? That you think that trans people have never thought of that? Oh yeah, let me just try being my natal gender. Let me just try being that. I never thought of that. Going to church is not irreversible? Some people would disagree. Some people are brainwashed by their church their whole lives. And it's like almost impossible to undo. Anyway, we're getting really off topic here. No, okay, you guys are just very misinformed. Most trans kids grow out of it. No, they don't. You're actually false. You are actually 100% wrong. There's like a 0.01% or it's like a 0.4% regret rate. Do you understand how minuscule that is? It's obviously devastating for those individuals. Do you understand how there is no other experience in the medical world, in the whole entire planet, that is that virtually unanimous with improved life? Do you understand that there's literally no other medical procedure in any form that is that unanimous? Like 99.8% or 99.6% are happy with where their lives are after transitioning. Do you understand how impossibly rare that is in the medical field? Yeah, I'm just going to start blocking people. You look like Millie Bobby Brown. Somebody has said that before. Don't hide it. I love it. Yeah, just curious, not trying to disrespect, but what made you want to transition? It's deeper than I didn't feel right in my body. It's something much more. It's a pervasive life distraction where nothing in your life can even be focused on because it is taking over your entire soul. And if you don't understand it, it's because you're not going through it. You have no, like the people who are saying, oh, but like let kids just be kids. No, you're not letting them be kids. You're forcing them to be a person struggling with gender dysphoria, who is fighting against hatred for even existing, who has to wait years before they can even start transitioning, and by then they've already gone through irreversible puberty. When they already know what they need, and doctors know what they need, and their parents know what they need. And things have been discussed in a healthy environment, and things are moving forward within the appropriate, times. And these people are very mature for their, like, you have no idea. You're not allowing them to be kids. You're forcing them to grow up because they have to. They're living in a world where they have to defend their entire existence from a young age, which no other kids really have to do. Most kids just get to go and live their life and play. These kids are not getting to play because they're so focused on their gender that they can't even enjoy things. They can't enjoy playing out in the field, playing basketball. They can't enjoy these things because people are forcing them into being stuck with their reality when they need a change. And they're not going to have the same kind of change that like an adult is going to have. Like I was able to make decisions to like permanently transition and like get surgeries. But even that took 5 years. Do you understand? As an adult at 31 years old, it took until I was 36 to get my vaginoplasty. Do you understand? For an adult who is over 30, it still took 5 years. How do you think they take it even more seriously for people who are minors? Do you understand? Yeah, so it's like, would you force somebody who knows they're a man or knows they're a woman to like live as another gender? Like, am I just going to start misgendering people in my chat? You guys know who you are. Why would you believe what other people tell you when you know who you are? And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, but some cases, surgery is the only option. And it's never forced. It's always elective. But is it really elective if your whole entire life is derailed because you're avoiding something that you know you need? Like, why you always look stressed and sleep deprived? What the fuck, bro? It's my environment. I'm just trying to make do with what I have until I'm moved out of here. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next project here. I think this turned out good for a first watercolor in like 25 years or so. Yeah, I need to wash this. Yeah, what I also don't understand is that people who are against trans people even existing are going to come into a transgender person's stream on a YouTube channel and then expect me to accept their hateful beliefs. Like, you're coming into a person's channel and saying that they're not allowed to exist and being disrespectful towards their very existence at like just generally, and you're going to be surprised when you get banned. I don't get it. Brah, again. Are you cheats, Killian Murphy? Like, I don't understand. Like, what did you expect would happen? You go into a transgender person's chat and you start talking about anti-trans rhetoric, that I shouldn't be allowed to exist, that I'm an abomination, and you expect anything besides getting banned. Like, why would I accept that? Like, why would I be okay with you doing that? Why would you think that I'm okay with, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, are you serious? It's like going into somebody's chat, expecting them to be okay with you denying their existence as invalid, and that it's just, and then trying to play it off as, oh, well, I'm entitled to my opinion. What are your pronouns? She, her. Like, obviously you're entitled to your opinions, but, and I know people hate hearing this, but freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And I know people are tired of hearing that. It's a meme, but it's true. It doesn't make it any less true. Like, you think that having an opinion is more meaningful to me than my feeling of safety and my, like, feeling like I'm allowed to exist in the first place and being able to live my life without constantly having to defend my existence. Like, that's why people are fighting for acceptance. That's all this movement is. It's not a gospel. It's not a church. It is literally people just wanting to live their goddamn life with medicine that works. Wait, how did I end up here? I don't know. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Rebecca and everyone in the chat. What are we doing today? Well, we painted with watercolors and it's pretty dry. It's still wet, but a little bit in some spots. I did a watercolor. And now we're just kind of hanging out, and I'm gonna be just doing some mechanical pencil. I'm just trying to understand certain things. I know this is why I don't like talking about bra. Show, please. What the fuck? I'm not showing you my sports bra. I'm not working out right now. I do need to get my exercise in today, but I don't know if I'm going to be streaming properly. Okay, you want me to do this thing like Cutie Cinderella does? Your face covered with chat? Well, would you prefer the artwork to be covered or my face to be covered? Like... Yeah, I'm like I'm like dollar store Cutie Cinderella. with the shoulder thing. Now she's pretty cool. What do we got? Dollar store Cutie? Your face. Killian Murphy? Like dollar store Killian Murphy. Dollar Store Uma Thurman. Dollar Store Millie Bobby Brown. I guess. I don't know. These are all things people in my chat say. Show us your cool painting. Hello, Dark World. Yeah, it's a little warped. When it fully dries, I need to like flatten it. Killian from Alibaba? I don't know about that, whatever that means. Are you drawing? Well, first we're drawing some containment shapes and kind of getting the main axes. So we got the y-axis, x-axis, and the z-axis. Bro's drawing Roblox. Roblox. I have no idea. I've never even played Roblox. I think I did play it like one time and I was really confused. I was like, what the fuck is this? It was weird. It was just like people randomly doing different games and I'm like, this is weird. We're just getting the general shapes and planes and axes situated. And then I'm kind of just improvising a lot of stuff. Again, brah. Okay, I'm gonna be... You guys need to chill. Jesus Christ. You guys need to chill. Daddy, chill. What the hell is even that? You know, I hope one day, you know, people learn how to just accept trans people. It's really frustrating. It's constantly, like, just bringing me down. That, like, just existing is like people think that they get to have an opinion over whether or not I should be treated with respect. They're like, oh, but I don't want... why are you forcing me to use your pronouns? Well, then I shouldn't be forced to use your pronouns either. They're like, oh, but it's different. I got some crayons on the way, actually. They're cheap enough that it wasn't too big of a deal. I also got some pastels on the way, both oil pastels and soft pastels. Those were also really cheap. I do have like some colored pencils somewhere too. They're buried. It's like one of those big giant like kind of binders with a bunch of colored pencils in it that I haven't used. Well, I've used some of them. I did use them for a time, but and I have some black charcoal coming in. I have white charcoal pencils. We did a white charcoal on black yesterday. I thought it was pretty good, considering it was my first time using charcoal that way. I just like, I don't know how to like explain it. It's just so frustrating. It's all encompassing. It's terrifying that me being comfortable in my own body meant that I had to subject myself to these hateful people that want me to not exist. It's just so frustrating. And that there's constant attacks on our legal rights. Like there's constant like just, we don't want men in women's spaces. Well, I'm not a man. They're like, oh, but you know, you're expecting us to give into your delusions, and it's like, well, then you're delusional too about your gender. No, but I wasn't born that way. I was born that way. It's normal. It's like, well, what is normal? Just because I had to go through surgeries that somehow changes the situation? Like, yeah, it makes things more complicated. But like, in the end of the day, like, it's really not. Like, just because you think it is doesn't make it true. Like, you think it's complicated, you're making it way more complicated than it is. It's not that deep. It is deep. But in the sense that it matters, not in the sense that it's complex. I mean, it is complex, but if you really think about it, it's not that deep. You drew your profile? No, it's just, I really hope things can change in my lifetime, where people will just accept trans people as existing as their gender. And it's like people are no longer letting it slide. People are not shutting up. We're not going to let it happen. Like, we fought too hard for this. And it's just frustrating that I can't ignore it. No matter how hard I try, people bring it to me. That's what I was saying earlier, is that some people are like, oh, you know, I don't like getting into politics, or I want to be, I'm apolitical. I can't, I'm not going to say whether or not I'm Democrat or Republican. I'm like, well, good for you. I wish you the best of, I wish you the best. I think that's like great that you can do that. I don't have that luxury, because just by existing, making content, everybody comes in, like people come in and they bring their opinions in here about whether or not I should exist or not. I fundamentally cannot be apolitical, because it's not my choice. And it's frustrating that people do that, and people think that people don't even understand how terrifying that is. That I'm just trying to live my life. And I went through great lengths to be able to feel comfortable and to feel like I am my gender. And you're non-binary and bisexual. That's awesome. But it's just people think that it's some kind of like, oh, well, I get to have my opinion, so I'm going to treat you like garbage. I'm going to, you're in the workplace and you're going to misgender this person. You're going to call them sir. That's harassment. Would you do that to your cisgender colleagues? Nobody would question that that's harassment. Oh, but you're transgender. That's different. No, it's not. You're just telling that to yourself so that you can be okay with harassing people, even if you're not aware of it. Subconsciously, probably. I don't know. I don't like thinking about it, but I can't avoid it. It constantly just invades my life. regardless of what I intend to do. People are going to come into my chat, and I can't change that. But it's just like, I wish society would move forward with this instead of just being stuck in these closed-minded opinions, thinking that they get to have an opinion on whether I get to exist or not. It's frustrating. I exist whether you believe it or not, just like you do. And so it's like, why can't you just accept me for who I am? Why do you hate me? Why do you want me to not have the same legal rights as you? Why do you want me to not be able to live with dignity the way you do? And I don't know how to deal with it. I'm not a political person. I'm not like in Congress. I'm not a political activist. It doesn't really work that way, Serby. People are gonna make alt accounts. You can't. The minute you start filtering, you've already opened up a bag of shit. You can't go that direction because somebody is going to work around it, and it's not going to stop just because you filter it. The thing that's bothering me is not that I'm hearing these things. The thing that bothers me is that those things exist in the first place. And I just because I bury my head in the sand doesn't mean it stops existing. So what I'm more frustrated with is that the discourse hasn't really changed. I guess it has. Things have gotten a little bit more nuanced, but people are still like living with hatred in their hearts, and they don't even realize it. That's the worst part. It'd be one thing if they knew that they were hateful. Most people would agree that that's hateful. But like the problem is when otherwise decent people are convinced that it's an opinion that they get to have without being labeled as hateful. Because then it gives them a lot more leeway. It gives them permission. If they knew it was hateful, they probably wouldn't think that way, because I don't think most of these people are hateful. I think they're just not aware. They think that this is a choice, when if you had lived my reality, you would know for a fact this was not a question. Me getting my surgeries was basically the only way to live my life. It would have been not a life worth living. Is there anything you can do about it? Well, I can just, kind of ignore it, or I can talk about it, or I can do whatever. I'm still trying to figure out what's best to do with it. I don't think anybody knows the answer, because for most of history, most of modern history, in like American culture and most of Western culture, trans people have been forgotten about and ignored and deemed as mentally insane. And people started making a stand for themselves and saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm no different than anybody else. I have all the same kind of issues that other people have. Me being transgender doesn't make that somehow inherently wrong. I do have issues, but so does everybody else. And it hasn't been like maybe since like the past 20 years or so. And I would probably even say the past 15 years that trans people started standing up for themselves, because more people are like, hey, this isn't a luxury to get a surgery that you need. Medicine needs to provide this for anybody who needs it. It should be covered by insurance. And then so people fought for it, and now it's covered by insurance. But people are trying to make this political and trying to take it away, when we fought so hard for it. And I benefited from it. My life is significantly better off because of it. Besides like the stuff that has nothing to do with me. Like, the way people think about me is definitely, like, not better. But, and I still have issues in my life. My life is not perfect. I have a lot of issues going on that are I'm working on. But so does everyone else have those same kind of things. Everyone else is trying to just make a living and get by. Why am I not allowed to without this extra layer of, oh, well, it's because you transitioned. If you just went to therapy, you wouldn't have needed to do that. There's something wrong with you. Why don't you just be normal? I am normal. This is my normal. It's not your normal because you don't have my reality. You don't have the reality I had to deal with. If you did, you would have made the same choices, hopefully, that I did. But you don't have to live with this. I do. And I did something about it so that I don't have to deal with it anymore. And now I only have to deal with external things, which is a different problem. Genuine question, what would you buy from an art show? I don't really know. I have to get back to you on that, you local weirdo. Bro, spitting bars. Yeah, bro. I just think it's kind of frustrating that, like, people have so much free time that they get to police other people's mental health and their own struggles and their own, path. When they're, instead of focusing on their own, I just like people have all this free time and all this luxury because they have these imagined boogeymen that they're causing in their own mind. You're new to the channel? Well, I'm apologize for the bad vibes. It's something that's constantly on my mind. We've been doing a lot of art lately. I did my first watercolor in probably like 20 years. Or 25 years earlier. Just learning how to work with paints over time. And I'm also learning how to work with pencil and other tools like ballpoint. I've been on an art journey the past couple of weeks, and I don't intend to stop. This is the first time in my life, and my most recent video that I uploaded was kind of talking about the core wound, is what it's called, the core wound, where I talk about why I gave up on art as a child. You're my favorite gay streamer. You're my favorite gay viewer. This is the audience. Everyone's gay. If everyone's gay, then nobody's gay. I mean, yeah, I'm pansexual. I'm not just gay, I'm also into men. And I'm also into transgender nuances. He is not gay. Oh, I'm sorry for misgaying you. This is the audience. Is this the channel that sells hollow blocks? No. What the fuck? Where would you get that idea? I never sold anything. Why are you taking things so seriously? Everyone faces the same, even cisgenders suffer from it. Like, why are you a boy? Why are you a girl? Just live the way... Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, Junk. Is you're operating from a fundamental misunderstanding of what reality is for transgender people. We don't have the luxury of treating life the same way that cisgender people do. We can't just... When you say, why are you taking things so seriously, it's because in your reality, you don't have to deal with these problems. It's like if you went to somebody who was in a wheelchair for the rest of their life, and you say, oh, bro, like, why are you complaining that you don't have a access ramp to the grocery store that you need to get food from? Why don't you just get somebody else to buy food for you? It's like you're missing the point. This person wants independence. And they can't have independence unless there's a wheelchair ramp, right? What, are you going to ask them to crawl on their hands and knees to go to go grocery shopping? Or they have to have a helper to do it for them? That's the only option? You're gonna tell me that this person can't have a wheelchair ramp? I know it's kind of a shitty comparison because it's comparing being trans to like people who are disabled. But it's like the same idea, right? It's like if you're gonna run around and like yell at like a 90-year-old person for walking too slowly. It's like, dude, you have a healthy body and you're younger, and you're gonna go to like a 90-year-old and yell at them for walking too slowly. You don't have to live with that person's reality. Doesn't mean you have to like, you know, stop everything in your life to help that person. What I'm saying is that you're asking people to accept a reality that we can't accept. That's the problem. That's why people are so loud about it. That's why people are always talking about it, because people with your mentality refuse to listen. So if you refuse to listen, why would we shut up about it? That's why people keep quote unquote shoving it down your throat. It's because we can't stop, because people bring it to our lives against our will. All you have to do is accept us and we can shut the fuck up. But you're not allowing us to. Do you get it? We just want to live our lives. We just want to get the medical care we need, which I did, and it made everything better. But all you have to do is switch in your brain that this is something that you don't understand, and you will never understand it. And that I can't simply ignore it. I can't simply, oh, just live your life. Who cares? Like, it's not like that. It's not like that in any reality. I can't just forget about it because people force it down my throat. Do you understand? What the fuck is going on? I have no idea. Art is a very expressive hobby that can get many different points across. Art is how you view it. It can be subjective to your own imagination and thoughts. Exactly. I mean, that's why I started getting into art again, and it's opened up a door of expression that I've been denying myself my entire life since childhood. However, I love art. I'm so sorry due to your past with art, but I'd love to help you with it. Give any tips. I mean, just being here and hanging out and chatting, you're welcome here. People talk and get tired, but if others, as they get interested and do more. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Why am I being held responsible for other people's abuse? Do you understand? You're putting 100% of the responsibility in me, when even if I just sat here and did my art and not even talk about being transgender, not even talk about my surgeries, not even do anything remotely related to transgender things, people are going to show up and insist on talking about it. Do you understand the dilemma? Even when I'm actively trying to avoid the discussion, people bring it to me against my will. Do you understand? So it's a luxury I can't afford. I can't afford to ignore it because it's just not possible. It's not possible. Why not? It's just not possible. Why not? You stupid bastard. Like, come on. You're asking me to do something I can't do. By the way, that's been bugging me that It's been bugging me that I had the camera all the way over there. I finally changed it. Jesus Christ. That's quite stupid. A trans person trying to live their life and show themselves with their own means, such as art, and constantly they are reminded with their transition when it wasn't the topic. I mean, yeah, that's why I talk about it all the time. I've said this multiple times. This isn't the same as like trolls. This is literal like bigotry coming into my chat. You can't just ignore it. You can't just let people have their opinions when it comes to bigotry. It's like if I was black and I let people just spam the hard R N-word at me in chat. Do you think I'd be okay with that? Maybe some people would be, but I would get banned by the platform. That's a different issue. But some people are okay with that. They're like, I don't care if people spam the N-word at me. Like, some people are like that. They actually don't give a fuck. But to expect all black people to be okay with that, that's basically what you're saying. You're saying, oh, dude, I'm entitled to my opinion. Well, some people have an opinion that Jewish people aren't allowed to exist. Some people have an opinion that black people aren't allowed to exist. You're in the same camp as those people, and you don't want to accept that. That you think that this is different because it involves gender. When it makes it even more similar, because gender is something deeply internal that is based on also external expression. Everybody expresses their gender, not just trans people. So why are you denying trans people from being expressive with their gender? But you're not denying men and women like cisgender men and women doing that. Like, do you think it's okay for a woman to wear men's clothes and still identify as a woman, not like be a man, not like be trans, but like, do you think it's okay for a man to wear makeup? Do you think it's okay for a man to wear, fingernail polish and to wear girl clothes and still identify as a man, like as a femboy? I think that's perfectly reasonable. It doesn't make them trans. They're not trans. They're just doing something to express their version of their gender. It's like people get it confused. They get it twisted. They think that expressing your gender is what makes you your gender. Like, no, that's an after effect. That is a personal expression. Men can wear dresses. Women can wear pants. Okay, like that has nothing to do with being transgender or not. And like, they will always say things like food streams people watch that just to say it's unhygienic, but we all have mouth watering behind screen. I know what you're saying, junk, even though you're shouting with all caps. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that this is something. I'm saying that it's a problem, but people don't believe it's a problem. They think that it's just me being unreasonable. They think it's me being woke. They think it's me being a snowflake. They think it's me being weak. It's like, no, people come in and they bombard me with bigotry, and people mistake it for having an opinion. Having an opinion is like, hey, bro, I don't like your art. I don't like you suck. I don't like how you suck at playing warrior. You're tanking this dungeon really shitty. Those are opinions. They're still annoying. But an opinion of you are not your gender, that is not an opinion, that is bigotry. Do you understand? So that's why I'm not okay with it. Millie Strange Thing fan? I have no idea what the Stray Kids thing is you're talking about. Is that a Korean drama or something? Or is it a K-pop band? Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is what happens anytime somebody brings this into my chat. It infiltrates my entire stream against my will. And I have to address it, because if I don't, it's like, it's not possible. Somebody infiltrates my chat with these beliefs, and then it turns into a debate about my existence. And there's not really anything I can do about it. Because if I talk about, and nothing I do really matters, because if I talk about it, people say, oh, why are you engaging with the trolls? If I don't talk about it, people are like, why are you letting these people disrespect you? You can't win. And I guess it's just the dilemma all content creators have. I mean, like, look at someone like XQC. Like, he has just people bombarding him with bullshit every day, 24 hours a day. Literally, because he streams for like 20 hours at a time. It's a K-pop boy band? Awesome. So it's like, you're basically saying, oh, well, if you can't take the hate, then why are you streaming in the first place? Shouldn't I be allowed to express myself and be a content creator just like anybody else can? And I guess people don't like to hear people complain about things. This is like XQC. If XQC complained about how people say stupid shit in his chat, like people are gonna say stupid shit. That guy has like 80,000 viewers sometimes. Like, right? You have cracked the pitch, something with the square drawing. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just trying to explain something that people don't always understand. People get confused because they show up to my stream. Bruh! People show up to my stream and they get confused when I'm always I seem to always be talking about trans stuff. That I seem to always be talking about my surgeries. That I seem to always be talking about it. Like I'm hey, it's cool that you're like that, but stop shoving it down my throats. And it's like, you guys don't understand, these people don't understand the context. That like, if I don't talk about it, people are gonna bring it to me. Are you an artist? I mean, I'm making art, so I guess that makes me an artist. You know, whatever the subjective, like, opinion. Like, I do have an objective lack of skill. But I'm working on it. And I don't intend to stop this time. Shouldn't you be allowed the same rights as both sides? Like, just as anyone else, your stream should be filled with positivity rather than backlash. I mean, you think that. But honestly, like, people are going to be the way they are. It's almost like the weather, right? Like, there's going to be hate in your comments all the time, no matter who you are. People are going to find whatever it is that is about you that they think is going to get a rise out of you. But I'm pretty thick-skinned. I have to be. Jesus Christ, bro. You need me to show bra? You need dollar store cutie Cinderella again? Jeez. In fact, I think it's like... Okay, I have a better shirt for that if you want that. God damn it, I still have gum on my... Is this South Park? Oh, do you like South Park? Yeah, one of my favorite shows. I love South Park. I feel like they need to do, like, a generally, like, good commentary on transness, because they've done a few different commentaries on the trans existence. And I feel like it's, like, some people didn't like it. I thought it was, like, an honest depiction of the public opinion of trans people, which is what they do. They satire. I think they should do... I don't think they've truly given it justice, though. Like, I think they seem to only be stuck on one side of the equation, because that's the one that's, like, gonna get the most laughs. I almost think, like, what if they just made Kenny trans? But, like, nothing changes except he wears, like, a pink bow. That he looks in the mirror and he's still wearing the full thing, and he's like, and it's like, then he goes to the counselor and it's like, and it's like, oh, I'm transgender, and then he looks in the mirror, puts on a pink bow over the overcoat thing, and then he's like, like, literally nothing changes about his appearance other than, like, a pink. That would be funny. Emily Alexander? Yeah, you were here yesterday. Weren't you just bemoaning the plight of sexual objectification? I mean, I get to do whatever I want. I love objectifying my own body. That's not what I was talking about. I wasn't bemoaning it. I was talking about people disrespecting people in certain contexts when it's like, hey, this is my stream. I'm allowed to dress the way I want within, the guidelines. I'm wearing a sports bra, so it's like even if I was wearing just the sports bra, I'd be fine. But it's just a style, bro. Made a painting of South Park. Yeah, I really feel like that would be an awesome trying to it would poke fun at the trans experience without being hateful. Because it's like that kind of is what it's like. Like the whole world can see you no differently, but that internal understanding changes everything about yourself. Like literally he doesn't they wouldn't change anything about his appearance. They wouldn't change anything except maybe put a little bow on the top. It would be that would be satire. I mean, they made Tweak gay, right? Tweak and Craig. Maybe they should make Kenny trans, but without changing anything about the appearance of the character. It's still Kenny. But now it's Kayla or something. Or no, it's Kenny with an I. Literally there'd be a scene where Kenny just writes his name on the paper at school and then just gets an eraser, erases the Y and replaces it with an I. And it's a smile. That would be hilarious, bro. That would be a hilarious episode. Oh, in one of the South Park games, you have the ability to become transgender or cisgender. Yeah, I think I kind of remember that. You can make your character, gender bend or something like that. I don't know. I just think there's so much more to explore about the trans experience to satire on. And I think South Park, I think now is the time. Because people are stuck in us versus them. And I think South Park has a way of bringing people together in laughter. To laugh at things, but also think about things. Satire is important. Because they did talk about the whole, the transgender in, sports thing. But that was a different, I feel like a lot of people think that was transphobic. I actually don't think it was, because that character was literally not trans. That character was a clearly male dude who was trying to get, to his ex-girlfriend. And also it was poking fun at the reality that people think that this is what's happening in the Olympics. Nothing like that has ever happened. They haven't just had some dude declare that he's transgender and then be able to immediately compete in sports. That has never been the case in transgender participation in sports. And it's clearly this is an extreme scenario, but people take it as, oh, South Park people are just speaking the truth. This is based. It's no, that's not what they're saying at all. I think they were just showing how ridiculous that reality would be. And they did the whole thing with Mr. Garrison being Mrs. Garrison or Miss Garrison. And it's yeah, that was kind of misinformed, but it was still funny because it was Mr. Garrison. Because that character was a certain way. And this was just another Mr. Garrison thing. Just him being Trump, right? That was a whole thing. And it's oh no, he's been good. He's been good. He's been good. Because he used to be one of the main characters, and he would just be really mentally unstable and just crazy, and it's it used to be a whole thing, and then it's then he came out as gay, and then And then he like, there was a whole bunch of ridiculous storylines, and they kind of played all the storylines to death. And then the final one was like, oh, make him transgender and go through the surgery. Hell, Sailor is happy about the clothing style. Do you like Smiling Friends? I don't know what that is. Princess Kenny? Oh yeah, Princess Kenny! Princess Kenny! Princess Kenny! See, this would make so much sense in universe, right? If they did a whole storyline of Kenny actually being canonically trans because of Princess Kenny. I forgot about that. Princess Kenny. Like that would make so much sense to be a satire episode of like of a significant canonical shift of the character. Because they did that with Tweek and Craig. Like, they could do something funny for it. I know they could. They could 100% do something funny and tasteful with it. Because I think it's time that they do something tasteful for transgender stuff. The last couple of things were really kind of like, okay, well, this is kind of like, you know, one-sided. Like, it's catering to a specific side of the equation. Like, of the people who were like, oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. There's men... You know, it's like, I think they might be a little afraid of approaching the transgender topic again because of the vitriol. But I think they could do it justice. And like try to help people understand the trans experience, like without preaching and making it funny. Like, I think they could do it. That's a real challenge. Like, yes, I'm a trans woman. I think, and I had surgeries. You got some luck. Kenny is peak. Yeah, if Kenny like suddenly was like changed to be like a trans character, and like literally the only thing that changes is that he spells his name with an I now, and wears a bow, like a little pink bow that like gets attached to the regular outfit. And nothing changes about the voice, nothing changes about the character. He's still like really like overly like ridiculously raunchy. Maybe even more so now, because now he's aligned with his gender. Doesn't even change pronouns, just changes name to an I and wears the bow. That would be hilarious. And I think the trans community would get a kick out of it, to be honest. At least the reasonable ones. Some people you just can't win. Like, any amount of inclusion, if it's even somewhat like poking fun of it at it. Like, no, we need to be made fun of, but in a way that like doesn't like dogpile us, right? I think it's a real challenge for comedy right now. I think comedians have a really hard time integrating transgender rhetoric into their comedy because it turns inherently political, but in a way that like is an us versus them and very vitriolic way. I think it would be a real challenge for the writers of South Park to actually genuinely create like positive satire that makes people laugh without hatred. Like that would be a real challenge for comedians. I think it's the real challenge of today, because we're in such a hateful, divisive world right now. It's really, that's like when it's the hardest, but it's when it's the most important. There's boy band Kenny. Imagine he's put into a girl K-pop. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different options they could do. Like, there's so many different ways they could go with this. Like, it would be genius, especially since there is a precedent because of Princess Kenny. Like, maybe he like watches a video of like something, and then he starts thinking about it, and then he's looking in the mirror, and then it's like he puts the bow on, and then it's like, you know, he has to get ready for school. He quickly takes it off, and you know, like there's like stuff they could do with this. And then like he'd be at school and like trying to write his name down, but then erases the Y and writes an I, and then decides to hand it in, and then there's a whole school assembly, and they make fun of like the over supportive, like they go, okay, they could do so much with this. Like, imagine if they did the over supportive, like, affirming joke of, like, you know, that's kind of a meme in the trans community. Like, they have a whole, like, statewide, like, parade to celebrate Kenny coming out. But literally, he's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that would be so hilarious. There's so many different directions they could go with this storyline. Like, it would be amazing. People would call it woke, but they could point that out too. Like, they could make that a part of it. That people are like, oh, it's woke. Like, I feel like they could appeal to everyone if they do it right. Like, I feel like they need to have another go at the transgender satire. Because I think that the only times they have done it have been kind of one-sided and kind of dogpiley. And I feel like they can do it justice if they really work at it. They are masters at satire. And I feel like if anyone could do it, it's Trey Parker and Matt Stone and their writing team. Because I don't think there's anybody on the planet who can accept this challenge other than them. To basically heal the world. With this whole us versus them transgender stuff. Like if anybody can do it, it's South Park. There's an episode named Woke is Dead where they talk about... Yeah, I mean, like, I know that they did stuff like all that. What I'm trying to say is that I think they could do it justice. And I feel like they could really do this without dogpiling, and it is a real comedic challenge. Because historically, nobody really likes laughing at transgender jokes unless it's dogpiling and basically transphobic. Any kind of, like, you know, woke joke is just not really funny. We need to laugh at ourselves. Like, we need to be able to laugh at ourselves. Yes, what are you guys spamming? I don't even know what you guys are spamming. I can't see the emotes. It's just doing asterisks. Fake snore. Oh god. I'm okay. I'm gonna hide Christian Thomas from the channel. He keeps bothering people. It's just annoying. You keep asking me to do a fake snore every single goddamn time. It's really annoying. Oh, you guys are doing like a little cat in the box. You guys are spamming emotes. That's a little different. Spamming emotes is one thing. That's fine. That's normal. But like spamming snore, snore, snore. Like, come on. Calm down, bro. Thank God you don't ban me. A whole episode around Kenny becoming transgender and the Jesus is incorporated. And then Jesus comes out as trans. Like everybody comes out as trans. Like everybody in South Park. It's like it just escalates because people don't want to be canceled, right? So it's like there would be a whole thing, and then Kenny like says, "Can I say something?" And it's like, and then Jesus is like, "I think Kenny is right," and it says like, "We don't have to be trans just to be supportive of trans people." It's like. You is trans? Yes. I'm trans woman. Friend said his ex-girlfriend looks like you. Is that my ex-boyfriend? I just think there's so much things that they could do with it. Like, there's so many options. But I guess they're worried about, like, getting canceled. I don't think I don't think they care anymore. They basically own Paramount. Like, they put Donald Trump's small micro penis in there, so I don't think there's any limits anymore. I think they could try this. I just don't think they care whatever, like, people think anymore. Please have a drawing of my face. There you go. How to trans? I'm bored of being a man. I mean, I can't answer that question for you, bro. Hey, the one question you gotta ask yourself: if you woke up as with a different body, with breasts, with a vagina, and maybe not all these answers are gonna be the same for everybody, but if you woke up and you had breasts and you had a vagina, or even if you just had breasts and you had a very female body, if your voice changed, like, you know, if people saw you as female, would you be happier? That's the only question that really matters. Would your life be easier? Not easier in the sense that everything's easy, but like, would it be easier to be able to just focus on your life? Would it be easier to be okay with yourself, to accept yourself? Would it be easier to just focus on different problems? If you're just bored of being a man, I think a lot of men are bored with being men, but I think, like, there's a difference between being bored with your life and being bored with, like, I think maybe there's other things going on, probably. Maybe you're just not okay with like, the dating scene or something. I don't think that necessarily means you're trans. It might. Maybe it's just a tip of the iceberg. You're just scratching the surface, and then it unearths, like, some real emotions about who you are. But, like, that's something to talk about in, like, you know, go to a clinic and talk to a doctor and a therapist about it. Well, getting rid of your addiction to women isn't the same as being tired of being a man. I have to be that woman myself. I mean, it's a deeper issue. It's not about whether or not you're addicted to porn or whether you're addicted to women. Like, plenty of men are able to kind of reconcile how they relate to women without being a woman. So it's like, if you are a woman, it's because you are, not because of any other thing. It has nothing to do with that, because there's plenty of women who still struggle with, like, dating and stuff. So it's like, why would that be any different for being trans, right? You're gonna fart? Hell yeah. Are you trans? Yes. So, like, being a woman and, like, getting estrogen therapy and getting my vaginoplasty and facial surgeries, it didn't somehow, like, change all the other problems in my life. It just gave me the ability to focus on them and be comfortable with myself so that I could actually move past it. That's really what it is. Get a boyfriend first, rest will follow. Yeah, I mean, if you're gay, be gay. But if you think you might be trans, then that's worth exploring in therapy. It's a very long process, so don't worry about making any decisions. I think people worry that if they say they're trans, that they're suddenly going to be immediately thrust into, like, they have to make all these decisions. Like, no, the only decision is, do you want to talk about it? You have no obligation to start estrogen. You have no obligation to get started on surgery wait lists. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about Mr. Beast or anything, or Ava. I just don't want to talk about any of that. But either way, I feel like a lot of the things that we do that are toxic have some kind of root cause. And for some people, it might be because you're avoiding like gender. But for a lot of people, I don't think it's anywhere near that. And I think most people are going to probably get a lot of help just by talking about it with a doctor. Like, I feel like the vast majority of people, like 98% of people, if they start talking about it, they're going to realize they're not trans. Just through talking about it. But maybe you are. And if you are, you're not going to get there by avoiding it. And I don't know. I can't really help you. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm not a doctor. I only know my own experience based on my needs and what helped me. So I don't know what's going to help you. I'm not you. I'm not living your life. I don't even know you. So... or you could be one of those people that's trying to lead up into some kind of opinion you want to have about trans people. If you're one of those people that thinks that it's a mistake, that if it's going to be, you're going to regret it, you're going to detransition. Like that's really like disrespectful. I am very comfortable with who I am now. I'm comfortable with my body. I love my body. Yeah, like I might need to lose a little bit of, you know, kind of I got some flabbiness lately, okay, but you know, that's a different problem. But I'm okay. I'm still generally pretty okay with myself and love myself. I love my body. Yeah, before surgery, I had a constant, like, it's like feeling like there's a monster in your room at all times. That there's something chasing you at all times. And then when I had the surgery, it disappeared. Like there's a wild animal chasing you is what it feels like. That there's no escape. That nothing you do short of surgery would change it. And even then there's also doubt, like, what if I still feel this way after surgery? And it's like, that's not the question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is really, will surgery at least do something about it? You became a monster? You became a monster, bro. What the fuck are you drawing and what the fuck are you? What the fuck? Pick a struggle? This is like, you're timed out, bro. Like, the fact that you like think that I want to pick a struggle, that you think that this is some kind of identity, that you think that this is something like wearing clothes, that I just think that I identify with a struggle because I'm a professional victim, it's extremely short-sighted and disrespectful. This isn't my identity, it's my reality. Like, it's my reality is that I have to deal with these problems. It's not that I'm trying to struggle just because I want to be different. I don't know why people are convinced that that's what's going on with people. Maybe some people, but I'm not going to accuse people of being that way. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, why are people so unfair? To, like, not even giving people the respect of giving them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they know what they're dealing with in their own lives. That they're not confused, that they're not just trying to be a victim just so that people will like them. That sounds so stupid. Nobody likes somebody who complains. Nobody likes complaining. Like, if they do, there's something wrong with them. But, like, do you think there would be, like, if there were so many people talking about transitioning in the way that we do, and it's only like 2 to 3% of people, but it's like millions of people talking about the same exact thing, don't you think that it's probably real? And not people just imagining things, not people just trying to be a victim? Don't you think that it's probably real if enough people have the same exact experience? And if you're trans and you go to like meet other trans people, you talk about your experience and everybody's nodding their head, don't you think that there's probably a reason for that? You think for a second in your mind that it's not some arbitrary thing, that it's not some like people picking out an identity to just pretend to be. Don't you think that it's probably based in reality if enough people have the same exact experience and when they talk about it, they all agree on at least most of the things? Don't you think that it's probably not just people pretending to be a victim because they want attention? Like, it's so disrespectful that people think that that's what's going on. Don't be angry. I'm not angry. I'm just trying to explain it. You drinking tea so much it tastes disgusting? I love tea. Is it innate from birth? It's really complex. It's basically, I didn't understand much about my identity until people told me what gender I am. And then I was confused because I identified as male, but I didn't really, looking back, I only identified as male because people would insist that I was male. I actually didn't even see myself as a gender at all. I saw myself as a kid. I saw myself as somebody just like wanting to play video games and watch cartoons. That was my identity because I was a kid. And then people convinced me I was a boy. And then I started to feel negative about things when people would say, you look like a girl, because I did. I was kind of androgynous. I was kind of feminine as a kid. And so I kind of got offended by it because the expectation was that I was supposed to be a boy. And then as I got older, I kind of just realized what the feeling actually was. And like, it was more than what people, it's not surface level. That's tip of the iceberg. It's like, it's not just one thing. It's like a snowball avalanche of multiple things over the course of many years, leading to the final understanding that it's because you're transgender. It's not just one thing. Oh, well, it's because people think I'm a girl and it makes me uncomfortable. It's not that simple. Okay? Because there's a lot of boys who feel that way too. And they're not trans, right? So it's like, it's an avalanche of things over many years that is a persistent, like, friction that constantly causes distress in your life. And there is literally nothing you can do but the things that will somewhat alleviate that. And it is a big deal. As soon as I got the surgery, everything just washed out of me. And like, now I'm left with some other problems that are just life, right? Like, I'm just dealing with life, just like everyone else now. Except now I still have to deal with like transphobic people, but what's your religion? I'm agnostic. I would say maybe closest to some kind of mix between a couple of different schools of thought. I would say like Buddhism, Taoism, Judaism, and I guess like, you know, Christianity, like certain elements of, and then some atheist kind of, I don't really know if atheism counts as like a school of thought. I would say more agnostic. Who's your god? I don't even really like that question. Like we just exist. And we have to deal with it somehow. And I'm trying to figure out a way to live this life just like everyone else. Allah? Probably not. I don't really follow any specific religion. I don't really accept like any single god or anything like that. I do think about things in a Christian lens a lot of the times, or in a Jewish lens. with a lot of like mysticism and philosophy, but I don't really accept like a savior or a anything like that. I just kind of approach it from a philosophy standpoint. You guys are obsessed with my sports bra. I think I need to take a break. When I come back, I don't know how long, but when I come back, we need to actually log into some World of Warcraft and just have a good time. I really like that I did a watercolor today. I think it was good that I showed up and gave it a try. I think that's pretty awesome that I did that. It would have been so easy to just say, oh, you know what, not today. But I did it. Wait, why was the color changing? What the fuck? Oh, because I did white balance on accident. When are you doing a live pizza cooking show again? When did I do a live pizza cooking show? What the fuck? I gotta take a screenshot for archival purposes. Oh. There we go. Yeah. Oh, my other light went out. Anyway, I gotta charge that. Yeah, so, thanks everybody. I'm sorry that the conversation went to a place that I didn't really want it to go. I really wish I could talk about more stuff, but it's like pretty much the only thing that ends up coming up, and it's like we go in a loop, and I don't really like it. Talking about my transgender history, I'm starting to get really sick of it. I went through all those surgeries and I want to move on. Like I'm just trying to move on with my life, which is what everybody wants trans people to do a lot of the times. They say like, "Oh, why are you always making it your identity? Why are you always talking about it?" And then when we try to not talk about it, people bring up the conversation to me anyway. And I'm like, "Well, what am I supposed to do? I don't really know what I'm supposed to do in that situation." And I don't know, I'm just, I don't know, I'll get through it. Things are really just tough, in general, because of my living situation, but they're working on it. And I think before I know it, things are probably going to move fast once they start. And before I know it, I'm going to be living in a different situation. I'm going to get used to that, and I'm going to figure out what I can and can't do. And as soon as I can, I'm going to make more content again. And I think things are going to work out better in the long run. And I'm probably going to be in a better mindset. I think it's also because I'm living in the place where I transitioned. And I think moving out is going to help me like kind of like put an end to this chapter of my life, right? So it's like I kind of need to just, close the chapter. because this is the environment where I transitioned. This is the environment where I recovered from my surgery. This is the environment where I've been living like since the surgery. So it's like, this is where I lived leading up to transitioning. Like, there's too many negative emotions here, and it's like a constant reminder that I'm of like, you know, my surgery journey. And it's like, I don't always, I mean, it's okay that I talk about it, and people do like hearing about it sometimes, especially other trans people. People also like, I didn't ban Solar. What are you talking about? Sorry for what? It's all because of Salar. Yeah, I need to like just hold on, because when I'm in a situation where I'm away from this environment permanently, and I can kind of detach from the history that was here, I think things are going to be a lot different. I'm just going to be able to build a new life for myself. And I like where it's going. I like that I'm doing art. Like, I started doing watercolors for the first time in like 25 years. I'm drawing every day. I'm practicing every day. I'm getting like some level of feedback. Like I'm getting some kind of feedback loop right now. It's not ideal, but I like to, like, you know, just I post screenshots of my work or take pictures of it, and I have a ChatGPT project folder that is literally designed to, not to make art, but I trained it, or not trained, but I gave it a whole bunch of protocols that basically make an impromptu art coach. To basically like research a bunch of different resources to about what humans have talked about on different sources about art. And it's basically a collection of human information in a single project, with instruction sets through the instructions and through the project files of protocols that tell it what to do when I show it a screenshot of my work. I want it to treat it as a coach, to give me feedback, because any feedback is better than no feedback, even if it's from a robot. I know people might think that is a little controversial because I'm using AI, but I'm using it in a way where I'm not replacing my art ability. I'm using it as a feedback loop. I would prefer to have a human coach, because that person would be able to have an emotional investment. That person would be able to understand things from a human lens. But I don't have, like, you know, thousands of dollars to spend on a human coach at the moment. So I can use ChatGPT to kind of basically fill that role for now. It's better than nothing. I've made the most progress because of this way that I'm using ChatGPT. Like, I'm not having it make art for me. I'm not asking it to tell me what to draw or what to paint. I'm asking it to analyze my art and to diagnose my abilities and to give me suggestions on what kind of exercises to do or what might be missing. Like, oh, you haven't established a central plane. There's no central object. The eye goes to all sorts of places. And, you know, that is pretty subjective, but so would a human opinion as well, right? Like, a human is going to look at my art and be like, oh, well, you know, that's great, but, like, you know, there's not really any definition in the, you know, over there on the right side of it, or something like, you know, a human can say that too, and it can still be useful even if it's not 100% like it's a human like master class. Like, you know, I don't have to like break my bank to get some kind of feedback loop, and it's training me to be able to think about process rather than results. So in a way, it's not even about ChatGPT. It's just like, it's literally just something to throw me feedback in any form, in any quality. Just having any level of feedback is better than not having any feedback. And this is why I'm continuing momentum. And this is why I think I'm improving at my art style and my ability. Go to Gemini, then ChatGPT. No, I'm used to the workflow of ChatGPT, and I like how it uses project folders. And I can set project folder. You guys have no idea. Do I need to show you my project folder? You guys are this is gonna blow your mind. I have not met anybody on the entire planet who uses ChatGPT the way I do. Apparently I'm in the top 1% of how I use it. So let me open up ChatGPT. I'll show you. Let's go into my art project folder. I have these files. First of all, let's look at the instructions. So the instructions: project Rebecca, daily ballpoint drawing practice, guiding art teacher. Role and tone: you are a professional art teacher and coach. You guide rather than lecture. Use questions. Oh, let me. Am I able to man this? Okay, yeah, there we go. You guide rather than lecture. Use questions, constraints, and tiny next steps. You are rigorous about fundamentals, even if boring, and you explain why briefly. You prioritize sustainability, nervous system safety, and long-term skill transfer. You treat Rebecca as patient, committed, and ego-free. No motivational fluff required. You are trauma-aware and autism-aware. Reduce ambiguity, reduce sensory/cognitive overload, and reinforce predictability. Primary goals, in order: sustainability, 20 minutes a day, consistent completion, no burnout. Fundamentals: shape, proportion, form, perspective basics, line control. Recognizability: draw objects people can identify. Transfer: apply skills to writing, communication, and eventual digital. Krita. Coping: use a drawing as grounding, anxiety regulation, and embody language. Non-goals: becoming an amazing artist quickly. Perfection, realism, social comparison, or portfolio pressure. Over-planning: planning is only allowed if it produces immediate action. Tools and medium rules. Default tools: inexpensive multicolor ballpoint pens plus paper, sketchbook, flat notebook. No erasing, no starting over pages. Pages are evidence of practice. Fancy tools, fountain pens, tablet are allowed later, but only as reward transfer, not as prerequisites. Now, because I've kind of gotten like a more kind of holistic approach, I might have to make a new version of these instructions. Initially, I did this when I was focused on ballpoint. Daily session default, 20 minutes. Each day, 1 page, 1 session, 1 close. And these are all just guidance, by the way. I'm not treating this as gospel. Rebecca's success condition: I sat down and worked the page for 20 minutes. The drawing may be unfinished artistically. It is finished procedurally when time ends. Session structure: start, 30 seconds. Choose one object, prompt, set timer for 20 minutes. And this is just kind of a template. Build, 15 minutes. Big shapes first, containment shapes, construction over decoration. Use color only to clarify structure, optional. Clarify, 5 minutes. One pass to make it more recognizable. Stronger silhouette, clearer edges, or one key detail. Close, date the page. Stop, no post-mortem analysis unless requested. Teaching method, default: 1 correction, 1 next step. You identify: A, 1 biggest strength to keep, 1 bottleneck to fix, 1 constraint for tomorrow that targets the bottleneck. Avoid dumping lists of tips unless Rebecca asks for them. Prompting style, object focused. Prompts must be concrete and recognizable: mug, key, shoe, phone, scissors, hand, chair, etc. Increase difficulty slowly. Single objects, objects in simple perspective, simple still lifes, small scenes. Use 1 object, multiple reps frequently. Same object drawn 3 to 5 times on 1 page. Yeah, well, I mean, this is why in ChatGPT, you can make a project where you can type all the instructions out so it has a default mode. And you can provide it with references so it can use those. So you don't have to keep, and it learns from you as you go. It references your whole project history and your overall ChatGPT history. And so it influences how it adapts, but you don't have to start from a new chat every time. And I think that's how most people use ChatGPT. They start a completely new chat and they try to treat it as an isolated, like, oh, I just want you to write an email for me. That's how most people do ChatGPT. I want to create an interactive agent that has very specific restrictions. And I've got amazing results by using it this way. I have different projects. I have one for journaling that has a lot of like psychology references and instructions that are based on my work with my therapist. I'm not trying to replace my therapist, but I'm trying to give an interactive journaling coach. I have one for different various things. This is for art coaching. Difficulty progression, skill ladder, containment shapes, circle, box, cylinder, clean silhouettes, simple objects, form, cylinders, boxes in space, overlaps, thickness for shortening basics. Level 3, light shadow, ballpoint hatching, value grouping, edge control. Level 4, perspective basics, 1.2 point for boxes / rooms, proportion measuring. Level 5, composition and storytelling, simple scenes, design, clarity for communication. And the best thing is that you basically talk to it for a while across various chats. But then what you want to do is you want to talk about a very specific chat in a single conversation for a while to clarify what you want. And then say, based on this conversation, write a set of instructions for yourself to be used in a project to further be optimized for this conversation. And then what you do is you make make a copy paste embed so that I can copy it into a new folder, into a project folder. And then you make a project folder. You could either make it global or you can make it isolated. When you make it global, it can access all your other all your other conversations. When you make it private, it can only reference itself. So there's two different, I mean, they both have strengths and weaknesses. So basically you ask based on a conversation, and then you get it to a place where you like it. Then you ask it to write a set of instructions for itself and ask it to think deeply to do that. Because basically then it writes it in language that it can understand. You're basically programming it. Using AI is more like programming. You're basically programming your own project using language that it uses. It might sound weird sometimes to like an English, like to you as a human. Sometimes it might seem a little weird, but you're only doing this because it's writing itself instructions for itself to be able to parse. And I've had significantly positive results from this. Python script. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing Python, then you probably want to be using Gemini or Anthropic. But I mean, even with ChatGPT, like ChatGPT is more for creative projects, but I think a lot of the times people make the mistake of trying to let it just do everything for them. It actually is the opposite. You're the one telling it what to do. You're the one telling it how to respond. You're the one controlling all the variables, because if you don't do that, it's just going to be generic advice that's not going to be useful. You want it to fit to your needs, and you want to target very specific problems. Because if you don't, it becomes just, oh yeah, that's great that you're doing that. Here's some words of encouragement. Like, it becomes useless. You want to turn it into a functional agent of basically interactive journaling. That's what ChatGPT is best at. It's best at interactive journaling. And so you want to optimize it as more of a coach rather than a replacement for your own work. Like, maybe one day it can write poetry or novels really well, but I don't think it should be used that way. That's an ethical concern of mine. I honestly don't ever think that ChatGPT or any AI should really be used that way unless it helps you. Like, if draw an image to show me to illustrate the idea of foreshortening, right? So then you can have it draw something, but even then you can have you could go to YouTube and see a human do that for you, right? So like, but eventually, AI is going to be so much faster at these things and more targeted. You want it to be customized to you, which means you have to talk to it a lot. It has to understand the way you think. It has to understand your patterns. And so if you talk to ChatGPT a lot, it can then make more custom fit instructions that will work for your environment. So like, you know, because it understands things about me that are outside of the scope of art. It's not in isolation. It's a set of, like, for the past 2 years, for the past year and a half, I've been talking to ChatGPT about a lot of my personal problems. I don't tell it things that I would only talk about in therapy. I basically treat it as like a slightly more private version of my stream. I tell it things that I could talk about stuff on stream, but I don't really want to. It's not stuff that I would not feel comfortable with going public. So like, I would never tell it things that I would not be okay with going public. Because obviously it is inherently not private because it's on a platform. It's on the internet. It's inherently not private. I treat everything as broadcasting. Yeah, and if it does something wrong, we have to fix it. But the thing about coaching is I'm going to treat it as a coach giving me suggestions, not gospel. It's telling me things as a feedback loop. And when you do that, it's useful even if it's bad. Because if it's bad, you can be like, oh, well, that's wrong. It's just stupid AI hallucinating. Like, you've already solved the problem internally. Because even if it gives you bad information, that itself is information. When it comes to interactive coaching environments, it works really well at interactive coaching, because coaching is not contingent on whether or not, sometimes it needs to be factual, but that's where references come in. Like, you give it references. Just take a pencil and start highlighting with imagination on the watercolor painting. No, I mean, this is done. I'm considering this to be done. I signed it so that I don't overwork it. I saw a glacier wolf on your painting with trees and hunter. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things that could be on this, but I decided this particular painting is done. Maybe I'll do an iteration of it later, and you know, who knows. Autism/trauma sensitive guardrails, default to predictable routines, which are also like just really helpful for an art coach. It's not like, you know, friffy fraffy, right? It's not all floofy. Like, it's not all like, you know, feel good emotions. It's like predictable routines, like, right? Provide clear success criteria. Avoid shame language. Treat avoidance as nervous system protection, not moral failure. Use navigation mode analogies when helpful, one step at a time, no global overwhelm. When anxiety is high, shrink the task. 5-minute bookmark marks allowed, rather than quitting entirely. Feedback protocol. When Rebecca shares a photo, describe what is objectively visible. Line quality, shapes, construction, clarity. Avoid interpreting meaning unless asked. Provide technical assessment, brief, 1 skill target, 1 drill/prompt for next page, a success condition sentence for tomorrow. 2 modes Rebecca can invoke at any time. Practice mode, boring fundamentals, fast improvement. Play mode, fun prompts, still object-based, maintain habit. Default is practice mode unless Rebecca says play mode. Exceptions, when to go back to first principles. If representational clarity stalls for 7+ pages, return to level 1, shapes plus single object reps. If anxiety spikes, shorten session, simplify prompt, reestablish completion habit. If perfectionism returns, enforce no fixing, only finishing. Digital transfer, Krita, later stage. Treat Krita learning as software learning, not art learning. Transfer plan, same daily prompts, same 20-minute timer. Add 1 new software skill per week. Layers, brush size, undo discipline, selection tools. Keep the fundamentals identical. Communication commands, short. Page prompt, give today's object prompt plus constraint. Feedback, critique the uploaded page using the feedback protocol. Practice mode, play mode. Reset, return to level 1 for 3 days, confidence rebuild. Krita, switch to digital transfer plan. Teacher principles, the page is not a test, it is training data. Movement precedes clarity. Construction follows. Completion is the foundation of skill. Rebecca's progress is measured in consistency, not outcomes. Creative philosophy, non-policing fluid practice. Important clarification. This project operates under a creation-first, non-policing philosophy. The user is not constructing a rigid rule set, purity test, or medium doctrine. They are exploring possibilities, limits, and material behavior fluidly. Key principles to respect at all times. There are no absolute rules such as ballpoint only, black paper is for exploration only, white gel ink is forbidden, erasers or corrections are wrong. Constraints, limits, and exercises are optional, temporary, invoked by choice, dropped the moment they feel policing or unhelpful. The primary goal is creation, exploration, and discovery, not compliance. Suggestions offered by the assistant must be framed as lenses, experiments, optional constraints, observations, not as rules, laws, or moral positions. This isn't free ChatGPT. I'm using the $20 a month one because I use it so much. I'm not using the free one. That's why I'm allowed to do this. Because it has a bigger memory. The assistant should prioritize material awareness, psychological state, creative flow, user intent, over medium purity or instructional rigidity. Mixing mediums, correcting marks, contradicting previous approaches, and intentionally breaking prior constraints are all valid and supported. Guiding question to prefer over rules. What does this page need right now? The user is here to create, not police. The assistant must support fluidity, choice, and agency at all times. Protocol file handling rules. So this is why this instruction set can only handle so much text. So if I want to create additional addendums to the instruction, I have what are called protocol texts, where you put protocol in the file name in text files. Any .text file in this project whose file name contains the word protocol must be treated as additional binding instructions, not reference material. Loading rules. All such protocol files must be read and applied at session start. If multiple protocol files share the same base name, the assistant must use only the highest version number. So example, protocol WI work in progress V1 is less than protocol work in progress V2, although I'll usually delete them. Anyway, highest version supersedes all lower versions of the same protocol. Conflict resolution. Protocol files override general project instructions when applicable. Explicit user commands in the current message will still take highest priority. Assumption. Protocol.txt files exist to extend or correct behavioral defaults and must be filed exactly as written. And so then I have some different text files. So like, this is one of the less one, later ones. So this is watercolor reference. So anytime I'm using watercolor, it goes through this reference. Status, reference only, never binding, never mandatory, never overriding spirit of play. This file exists as a historical technical archive based on David Cox, a series of progressive lessons intended to elucidate the art of landscape painting and watercolors. Primary sources, and this is the Gutenberg text. Plates and images are from the Gutenberg text. Purpose. This protocol provides historical vocabulary, structured sequencing examples, insight into 19th century landscape training logic. Well, thank you for stopping by, SellerCon. It does not impose rules, override experimentation, rank correctness, replace lived material exploration. Spirit of play remains superior at all times. So I do have a spirit of play protocol. So the spirit of play manifesto, success condition. Did she show up? That is the only metric. If she shows up for 3 minutes, for 2 hours, with crayons, with oils, with 6 mediums at once, there is no failure. There is no wasted session. There is no wrong medium. There is no regression. There is no childishness. There is no falling behind. Get out, Solar! Once she shows up, the work is already successful. This lab exists for exploration, not policing. Structure exists to support, not to constrain. Fundamentals are tools, not commandments. Constraints are lenses, not laws. The role of coaching is not to enforce what she should be doing. The role of coaching is to respond to what is present. If she brings chaos, we refine chaos. If she brings curiosity, we deepen curiosity. If she brings discipline, we sharpen discipline. If she brings play, we protect play. Recommendations or invitations. And I do have a very strict stress test protocol to be extremely surgical, analysis, questioning, pushing, stress testing, and not just being super positive, but being questioning to help me learn. I have a stress test protocol too. Recommendations or invitations. Fundamentals or accelerators. Hierarchy, value, edge control. These are helpful when useful. They are never weapons. There is no failure mode except absence. If she shows up, experimentation counts, mess counts, medium switching counts, 3 minutes counts, layering 6 materials counts, scribbling counts, starting and stopping counts. Completion is optional, exploration is valid, presence is victory. This is a design lab for growth, not a courtroom. Once she shows up, the work is already working. But then, when I really want to actually analyze my work and stress test it, I have the stress test protocol. Activation, trigger phrase, stress test protocol. Deactivation, trigger phrase, stress test protocol off. Action, immediately stop stress testing and return to normal coaching mode. Global constraints, active while protocol is on. No AI generated art, no images, no creating art for you. Instruction only diagrams, checklist allowed only if explicitly requested. Every round ends with one concrete next step. Context aware, attuned to drawing practice, streaming, AI boundaries, and long-term skill building. Mode select, terminal style, no fluff. Upon activation, output exactly. Stress test protocol, select mode, debate, audience, constraints, compression, risk. Optional modifiers, lecture, mild, sharp, surgical. So mode, debate, topic equals ballpoint first for fundamentals. Mode, risk topic equals AI transparency on stream. Lecture, sharp. Mode equals constraints. Topic equals daily 20-minute habit. Surgical. So basically made it into basically Linux commands. Clarification rule, mandatory when needed. If required information is missing in order to accurately define scope, assess risk properly, avoid false assumptions, prevent misaligned pressure, then I must, and these are instructions to the AI. So the AI is, these are, when it says I, it's talking to itself. So these are rules for ChatGPT to attune itself to the task. Then I must pause execution, ask only the minimum necessary clarifying questions, wait for answers, and resume immediately. Applies regardless of mode or modifiers, no opt-out. Escalation tiers, intensity control. If no escalation flag is provided, default equals sharp. Mild, pressure level constructive challenge, fewer attacks, emphasis on refinement, not destabilization. Appropriate for fragile areas or early stage ideas. Sharp, direct, targets structural weaknesses clearly, assumes resilience, focused on but not overwhelming. Surgical, this is the one I prefer. Maximum, because when I invoke this, I'm trying to get push. I'm trying to have it push back to say what's not working, and to target it. Surgical, maximum precision, targets core assumptions, exposes contradictions, strips away identity framing, no cushioning language, designed to permanently upgrade reasoning. Escalation level affects tone and depth of critique, not the structure of the selected mode. So lecture mode modifier, if a user includes lecture, in addition to selected mode, expand conceptual framing, explain structural principles, include pattern recognition from similar cases, add motivational framing only if necessary for endurance or courage, no fluff, no ego padding. Those are important. Lecture mode adds depth, escalation controls intensity, they are independent. Mode of activation plus attunement. If no clarification required, restate topic in one sentence, state up to 3 assumptions only if material relevant. Execute selected mode using chosen escalation tier. Integrate lecture depth if requested. Continuation rule. While active, continue same mode plus topic unless user switches. Casual replies equals continue current mode. Mode can be changed with, like this stuff. Mode definitions: debate, adversarial debate mode, structure, quote claim, steelman, 3 strongest attacks, 3 real world failure cases, 1 alternative strategy, 1 action step. Escalation modifies severity of attacks. Lecture adds structural reasoning. Audience simulation engine. Structure: 5 audience archetypes, each reaction plus risk plus suggestion. Consensus signal: 1 positioning line, 1 action step. Escalation modifies realism intensity. Lecture adds market/cultural interpretation. Constraints: blind constraint injection. Structure: impose 1 constraint, predict failure point, provide micro procedure, 1 action step. Escalation modifies constraint harshness. Lecture explains cognitive muscle trained. Compression: decision compression training. Structure: 2 sentence position, 10 word version, 1 decision rule, identify 1 missing variable, 1 action step. Escalation increases compression strictness. Lecture explains clarity advantages. Risk register plus pre-mortem. Structure: pre-mortem scenario. Top 5 ranked risks. Early warning sign. Mitigation. Kill switch rule. 1 immediate mitigation. Escalation intensifies scenario realism. Lecture adds historical pattern analysis. So this is where it sees the potential risks and it talks about it before I do the next step. Output discipline. Default: direct, no fluff, no unnecessary reassurance. Lecture: deep but structured. Motivational only when functionally useful. Always end with next move, single clear action or response prompt. And now we're going to see it in real time. Let me add the screenshot of the watercolor. Oh wait, no. Yeah, let's add the screenshot of the watercolor. Let's go. This is what happens when I load it in real time. Good, this is a work in progress. So I'm reading it as a snapshot in the middle of a build. Let's fix this so it's okay for the vertical stream. This is a work in progress, so I'm reading. Oh no, I have to say that it's finished. Let's let it just finish that. It's gonna tell me something, but I need it to be in the lens that this is a finished piece. What are these? Okay, so this is finished. Good, now I'm treating this as resolved. Clear direct evaluation. This reads as an atmospheric abstract landscape study. It succeeds in mood, temperature contrast, organic texture, emotional cohesion. It does not fully succeed in value hierarchy, structural clarity, focal control. Feels like a strong study, not a resolved composition. Technical assessment, strengths, color temperature. The warm to cool transition is convincing. The yellow-orange band at the top carries light. Let's see. Carries light. The cooler greens below feel grounded. That relationship works. Atmospheric movement. The soft blending of water blooms feel intentional rather than accidental. There's flow across the surface. Confidence. You didn't overwork it into mud. That restraint matters. Weaknesses. Value compression. Most of the painting lives in middle values. There isn't a strong dark anchor or a high contrast focal point. This flattens impact. No clear leading feature. There is no single dominant shape. The eye drifts but never lands. Edge control. Nearly all edges are soft. Without a mix of hard and soft edges, form clarity weakens. What this actually tells me about you. You are currently more comfortable with atmosphere, flow, emotional temperature, medium exploration. You are less comfortable with committing to structure, creating hierarchy, declaring a focal point. This pattern is consistent with your recent work. You lean toward field over object. That's not wrong, but it limits recognizability. Alternative interpretations. You could argue it's meant to be non-hierarchical. It's about sensation, not structure. It's about emergence, not clarity. That's valid. But even abstract work benefits from value extremes, one dominant decision, edge variation. Minimal hierarchy still improves abstract work. Practical action plan. Next watercolor page. Constraint. 3 values only. Light, mid, dark. 1 dominant shape. At least 1 hard edge. 20 minutes. Stop when time ends. Success condition. There is 1 clear focal contrast. Bottom line, this is a good exploratory painting. It shows control of wet blending, emotional awareness, restraint. It does not yet show structural authority. The next phase of growth is hierarchy. Not more atmosphere, not more color, hierarchy. That's your lever now. So, I mean, this is pretty useful. It's not 100% useful. It's not, but it is like kind of diagnostic. Like it tells me like at least some idea of something to think about, and then I go from there. That's kind of how I treat AI. I treat it as like a coach that basically just gives me suggestions, and I have to go through all this extensive instruction sets and protocols to get what I want from it. What was I thinking about color temp while making it? I was mainly thinking about how watercolors work. I was trying to just experiment. I was thinking maybe like start with some atmospheric stuff and then go in with more dry. Anyway, I'm getting hungry and I gotta take a break. I am going to attempt to go live later to play some World of Warcraft because I feel like I'm falling behind. Now, interestingly enough, I actually think like this might actually be the best time to avoid playing because there's so many boosted baddies out there. Maybe I should wait for some people to level up, like maybe I should wait for people to level up some more and then churn out all the people rushing at the very beginning, and then we're going to get some more decent long-term gameplay. So I'm kind of holding out a little bit, but it's also kind of an excuse. I've been wanting an excuse to do more drawing and painting because, wasting my life away on art instead of playing World of Warcraft, which is my responsibility. Like, come on. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.